Hey, everybody, welcome to the Horror Syndicate Discourse. This is the last we're going to talk about movies from 2022. Probably not. I think we want to talk about some of the big films that we didn't get to talk about during the year last year at some point in the coming weeks. But tonight we're going to rank 25 out of the, let's see, I watched 58 different horror movies from 2022. I think Nate was around that. Seth and Jared were in the 20s, but there were a lot. Shutter released, it seemed like two or three a month, and we got to ranking them, and we've got a whole ranking. I did all kinds of cool stuff, but first of all, you got to subscribe. Come on, it's why aren't you subscribing? You got to like us on Facebook, all that stuff. Anyway, I want to get to it because we're a little bit late because I was making these special graphics for the show because I want to be all like high quality, like super cool, you know. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over, show off our personal top 10 because they're all different. We're gonna go over the honorable mentions, and we will then go 25 to 1 all the way down. And I also the last 24 hours or so I posted, maybe even a little bit longer, rate these movies in a score of 1 to 10, and I've got the scores written down here. So our audience score will also, I'll mention that also. I didn't make any graphics for it because it's just been busy as all get out. Anyway, I'm going to introduce my illustrious panel tonight. It's the same as it ever was. If you ever Talking Heads. First off, we've got Jared Laterno, my friend. How are you?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Oh man, I just busy as all get out, as I said. Between work and kids and all kinds of crap, it's not fun. I know you've been busy too, my friend.
Yes, I
Welcome
want to
back.
wish you a late Merry Christmas and a late New Year's.
Yes,
We are
Happy
in
New Year.
2023, folks.
2023. This will be what, the seventh year of the Horror Syndicate, or eighth, something like that. Seventh. 2016 is when we started.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been putting up with me since 2015. Poor guy. Anyway, I'm glad you're here, man. Totally glad you're here. Next up, we've got the beautiful Seth T. Miller. Come on,
Something like that.
show us hairy chest. Come on, let's see it.
He is
Nah,
beautiful.
Seth, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I just said how I was. You heard it. Come on.
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, then you don't get to know, my friend. Anyway, anyway,
Blah, blah, blah.
blah 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 blah. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the person I
Probably
know
gonna
who's ready
glitch.
for this, we'll see. Nathan Thomas Milliner is here as well. He was able to take our four lists and combine them together for one master list, and I want to thank you for doing that. This is the third straight year you've done that.
Guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is season 3. So this is the. Oh, by the way, this is the season finale of season 3. How about that? Yeah. Season 4 kicks off next week with something. Anyway, Nate, how you doing, man? How's your back doing?
It's doing all right.
I was gonna say it's probably pretty sore from carrying this show for 3 years.
Had to have surgery for it.
Sorry, we don't have insurance. I probably owe you a little bit.
That's a good one.
Anyway,
That
I'm
was
glad to
why.
have you guys here. We didn't have a show last week, did we?
No.
It's it. You know, I got to be honest. 3 years into this, it feels wrong not talking to you guys live on a show. You know, if we don't do it for a week, just life just isn't the same. Anyway, so what? Like I said, you guys heard me. I think Seth says he wasn't paying attention. You know what I got to say about that, Seth? Don't you? You don't?
That's the way you feel about it. Forget it. Just forget it.
Well, I was just gonna throw this up there, but whatever. Anyway, so or your chop suey. Anyway, what we're gonna do first, if you guys don't mind, and what I'd like to do is, I know that we're all partial to a lot of these movies, so whenever we get to 25 and 24, I know there's certain ones that we all chose, Like, first of all, Nate, I want you to take the lead on Halloween Ends, please. And then, like certain movies, I know that like The Innocents and a couple of these other ones, I want you guys to take the lead. Jared, the one that none of us saw that you put on the list was your number one. You absolutely have to take the lead on that because I didn't know it existed until you put it on the list. So,
Yes.
but yeah, and then we'll get into our thoughts as well. But like when they pop up, if you know it's one of yours, just jump in and say, "Hey, this is a movie." But first, let's start with our personal top 10 list, if you guys are cool with that. And we're going to start with Jared, if you don't mind, Jared, and kind of run through this real fast and tell us, that whatever. Tell us whatever you want.
Where is my top 10 list?
It's
Where
right
is
on the
it?
screen.
There it is. Okay. So if we went down from 10 to 1, Hellraiser, it was released on Hulu and everybody was excited about it. Nobody knew what to expect from it. It exceeded most expectations for people who love the Hellraiser franchise. Don't get me wrong, right? It exceeded it, right?
Yeah.
So number 9, I got Smile. That was a different one. I really got a It Follows vibe from that movie. It's one of those movies where you're not gonna get anything, it's nothing unexpected. I guess you're not gonna get something that you don't. Yeah, you guys get what I'm going at. All right. Anyways, number 8, Pearl. So this is Ty West's second film of 2022, which, for those of you who don't know, it's a prequel to the film X, which follows our main lady from the beginning movie. And I saw it in the theater, and I was very, very, very impressed with it because I didn't know where the fuck Ty West was going to go with this franchise. He did so much with that first movie. You really didn't realize what was going to happen. But this was a character development film to the T. So you immediately realize what you were going into when you see it.
And that's probably why I liked it so much.
Yeah, because you kind of get the idea of where the character is coming from when you watch the movie X. So we're moving down to the sadness. This movie was very different.
Wild as fuck.
If this movie had came out before Train to Busan, I think we'd be talking about this movie a fucking lot more. It's a lot of the same vibes, but obviously this is not like a zombie movie straight to the T. This is something that affects your the frontal lobe of your brain, where you greed for lust, you greed for sex, you greed for everything else. This movie hit me on lots of good fronts. Like I said, if this movie had come out before Train to Busan, I think we'd be talking about this movie a lot more. So we're at Mandrake now. Mandrake is one of those films. It's a folk horror film,
Which you love.
which I fucking definitely love.
Yeah.
It's set in Ireland, and I had to watch it twice to really kind of get the vibe of what was going on, because I really didn't understand it the first time. So I really want to press hard. If you want to watch the Mandrake, you might not get it the first time. Please watch it twice. Please.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
So next we got Barbarian. I was blown away by Barbarian, and that has nothing to do with what I have left on my list. It was a fun original movie that gave us 2 films all in one. It really did.
Mhm.
Justin Long was fucking amazing in that movie. You never see him being that way, but for those that haven't seen the movie, I don't want to ruin it for you, but you don't. Justin Long is the nice boy. You do not see him like this. So I'm moving on to The Menu. The Menu also blew me away. I'm a foodie. I also like to cook. This movie actually really strung really hard with me.
Should we start calling you Chef?
You could.
Yes, Chef.
Hey, children.
Yes. I do really good things with a piece of fish.
Nice.
This is a
But
PG
no.
show.
But no, this movie actually rang really hard with me because of it's not just on the face front like everybody's spending $1,500 to have a seat at this restaurant. It's not at the face. It's a idea of what the rich can do and what they want to do. And Fiennes as the chef, he took the whole movie away. Like there's nothing. I don't know what to say about anything else about the movie, but just his portrayal as the actual chef Fiennes totally ruled that fucking movie.
Yeah.
And
I
I
was gonna
think
say,
that
what's her name was really good too. Anna Joy Taylor, is that right? Is that her
yeah,
name? She was-
she's great in everything.
yeah, she really is.
But no, Fiennes,
Sorry.
like he totally took that movie over. And I don't think I had it at my number 1. Nope, obviously not. This is my list. Jesus Christ. Okay,
Almost there.
I'm getting there. Okay, so X. I took my stepson to this movie in the theater, having no idea what this movie was about. Well, I kind of had a little bit of an idea, but I didn't realize it was going to be as graphic as it was with a 16-year-old stepson. But having guys like Kid Cudi in the movie, like this movie flipped me upside down. Yes, you got the vibes from the original trailer of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but you can fucking flip those to the sideways. It's not that movie. This movie is actually more saddening, and I don't know. There's a lot of feelings going on in this movie that I don't want to talk about right now because we got a lot of stuff to go on. So I'm going to move on to Prey. So Prey is the newest installment of the Predator franchise. Seeing this film was beautiful. The director, every scene in this movie was beautiful. Scenery, everything. I know we've gone tooth and fork about Prey, Predator, whatever you want to call it, any of that stuff being a horror movie franchise. This movie is a horror movie. You have a monster that is fucking attacking. And when I got to actually watch it on 4K, like, it blew me away. but I'm sure you guys will have comments about that. So I have to keep going. I'm sorry. My last one is You Won't Be Alone. Okay, so most people have not heard about this movie. I cannot pronounce her name to save my life. Numi Rapace?
I think so.
Close?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is another one of those
Folk horror.
weird folk horror movies. It's about witches.
Ooh,
Without giving anything away,
I love witches.
this is a very strong drama about a girl that is raised by a witch who decides to leave. She doesn't want anything to do with the witch. She wants to live her own life. Okay. She's like 12 years old when she decides to do this. But when she does, she is still brought to Brad the Witch. She changes her face. She changes her personality. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this. Like, I can't really, I don't like ruining movies for anybody. You guys know.
They're like that movie in the 80s, John Cryer, but witches. You know what movie I'm talking about? He's got a beard. He's like an accountant or something like that, and he has to hide from the
Oh,
mom.
the
You remember that movie?
hiding out.
You're Hiding Out. I love that movie.
Hiding Out. Oh, yeah. I remember that movie.
Yeah, we won't. This is a movie I wanted to see. It was streaming on like Hulu or something, right? Like when it first came out, like it was on a streaming service, and I was going to get to it, and by the time I went to watch it, it was gone.
They pulled it?
They pulled it. I was
Really?
pissed. So now you have to pay like $4, $5, $6 to see it now.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it, but this is one I like. The only one I didn't get to see. This is my number one want to see movie, and especially since it's your number one, it makes me want to even see it more.
It's a really good film.
I don't think many people saw it. When I put it up today, we got one person who commented on it. And so, like, all the other, of course, the big ones got like 30, 40, even 150 comments. But this one was the only one that didn't get any comments. I don't think it had, the person gave it a 10. So that's good. Go ahead,
That's
Jared.
good. That's good. No, I was very impressed by it. And when watching it, I first thought of you, Nate, because yeah,
it totally looks like it's in my. And like I said, I wanted to see it. My wife was telling me about it, and I don't know why no one saw it because I mean, Numi is a big fucking name, and every time I would look up top horror movies of the year, this was always up there. Like it's got like a 100%, 90% rating, and all. I mean, it's in that best of the year area. But I think wherever it was streaming, for some reason, it got pulled. And now you have to pay to see it. And I think maybe a lot of people just are like, well, there's so much out there that's on their streaming services. I'll just wait till it comes back to another one. But I really want to see this one because it looks so good.
All right. So, Seth, you're up.
Okay. So my number 10 is The Wounded Fawn, which was a suggestion from Nate. I liked it. It's very weird. Definitely a very weird movie. It is set in modern day, but the filmmaking style kind of had like a 70s, like almost grindhouse kind of vibe to it with the way it was shot and edited. It gets really bizarre, especially towards the end. But it was a movie that I just enjoyed very much. It's weird, and I dig it. My number 9 is Moloch. Stumbled across this one on Shudder one day, and I watched it. I think it's got a good slow burn to it, and I love the ending. I think the ending's really fitting and beautiful. Number 8 is Off Season. Yeah, Off Season is number 8. It's another one I just took a chance on Shudder, I believe.
Yep. You told me about both of these.
Yeah, it's got a like a Lovecraft type feel to it. Just an entertaining movie. I'm just gonna say number 7 and 6 back to back. Pearl and X, both of them were movies I didn't watch the trailers for before I went to go see them, and I love both of them. I definitely want to see Pearl again. Mia Goth is great in that,
Yeah.
and I just dig how they both have different styles in terms of their storytelling, but they're connected.
Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, I love both of those. Number 5 is Prey. I wish they released it in the theater instead of on Hulu. I think that would have been a
Same.
really good theater experience. I dug it. I liked the lead actress in there, Amber Midthunder, who I've seen before, and she was in the show Legion. If you guys saw that, yeah, just really good Predator movie that kind of really takes it back to its roots, and I don't think it's quite as like horror as like say Predator 2 is. I think Predator 2 has the most horror in the franchise, but Prey is really good. Number 4 is The Black Phone. Went to go see it in the theater, and when I went to go see it, I wasn't really completely sold on it. Based on the trailers, I thought it was just gonna be all right, and it was a fun time. I like the kids in it, and Ethan Hawke is really good in it, and yeah,
It's
good time.
really good, isn't it?
Number 3 is The Cursed. I'm probably the only one who had this on their list. It's a slow burn. But I really like it because I think it's a kind of a really unique werewolf movie. I wish they had stuck with the original title.
What was the original
Eight for
title?
Silver. 8 for Silver.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh,
It's so
wow.
much. The Cursed is such a generic
It
title.
is, yeah.
It is.
You know.
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to make a sequel called The Cursed Resurrection. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, God. Oh my God.
I didn't completely dig the overall like design of the werewolves in this, but I liked the uniqueness of how they operated and I don't know, just the whole story. I thought it was really good.
Visually, this
My-
movie was really cool, I thought.
That's one of the best werewolf movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah,
Better than Werewolf Castle, I will say that.
The best since Snow Hollow or whatever.
Wolf of Snow Hollow. Yeah,
I guess that was last year. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was, I think, wasn't
I
it?
liked Werewolves Within too last year. I liked that one.
yeah.
I didn't see that one. That's it.
Yeah. Number 2 is Barbarian, another movie I didn't see the trailers for, but I heard a lot of people, including you guys, talking about how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when it finally came to the theater in town, I just went to just go see it, and it was surprising. I had no idea what to expect. There was a lot of twists and turns in it, and it's a fun time. I wish there was a little bit more Richard Brake. That's about it. And my number 1 is Hellraiser. I'm a huge Hellraiser fan, and I thought this was
You even like the
kind of
bad
a
ones.
unique. What's that?
You even like the bad ones.
I do. There's only 2 that I will say are bad. The rest I will not admit to it. Yeah, but this new Hellraiser, it was nice to see a Hellraiser movie that felt like a theatrical. It looked really good. It was really
Yeah.
sharp looking.
First time in years, man.
I liked the
Decades.
Yeah, exactly. And it had the Christopher Young score back in it, and I liked the design of the Cenobites. That's where it kind of went back to the book, not so much as our story, but the look of the Cenobites, where their clothing is basically their flesh. Yeah, and I like the lead character even. She's a very flawed character from the start. But it's a Hellraiser movie, and you know, one of my favorites in the series is Inferno, and I mean,
Yes.
the chick in this makes, I don't know, just the characters in this series are assholes usually anyway, so I didn't mind it.
They're
But
getting
yeah,
their
it's my number
comeuppance
1. I
usually.
really, what's that?
They're usually getting their comeuppance.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Seth. And God bless you.
You're welcome.
Nate, you're up.
That's my list.
That's your list.
I'm not going to talk about them because all of our top 10s made the top 25. So
Yeah, the only one I
It's
think
like-
on your list I didn't see was Bones and All, and that's absolutely one I want to see.
Yeah, that's the only one I haven't gotten to see yet. And The Innocents. Ah, shit. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I think I've seen every one of them but Bones and All, and I think, well, I'll just look at my list. Here's my list. Smiles menu. The menu was really fun. Scream off season I really enjoyed. Fresh. I think that I'm the only person who put that on the top 25, wasn't I?
I think so. No,
Yeah.
I had it because
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked Fresh a lot.
Yeah, Fresh is good. Good performances in that one, and it was
Yeah.
not what I expected. And I love Barbarian. I've watched it since it's been on HBO Max probably like 3 or 4 times. And Black Phone, I watched it again. Helena loved it. By the way, I saw Megan yesterday. Helena said that's now her new favorite horror movie.
Huh.
So just thought I'd pass that along to you guys. It's dethroned Phantasm. Anyway, Boo, you are the combo breaker with adding Scream 5. Did I have that on my list?
I think so.
Somebody did.
Whatever. I forgot. I've seen so many horror movies this year, and I've rated them all, and I've done so much work with the movies for this year. It's just I can't remember what I've done. I don't think I've slept.
When you watch over 50, which I think I was like 55, 56, you said
I got
58.
58. Yeah.
It's so hard to whittle it down to 25. That's so many because there's so many. There's those obvious really good ones that you're like, oh, these are definitely my top 10. And then there's that middle ground of like 30 films where they're all equally good and they're all so different because nobody makes original movies anymore, right?
Right.
And they're also
Yeah.
unique. And you're like, how do I rank these? Where do I put do I like this one more? I mean, it's really it's hard to get that
That's kind of what I did. I was like,
15 to 30 area. It's like,
well, I made the list all throughout the year, and then I went through it again. And I'm like, do I like Mandrake better than Hellbender? Yes, I like Hellbender better. So, and I went down the list that way, and that's how I got to.
but then you think,
My-
like, what if I went back and watched this again? Maybe I would be re-energized with it and put it above this because
Yeah.
some of these movies, like Prey and all that, it came out in the beginning of 2022. So it's been like 6-7 months since I've seen them.
Scream was
Right.
one of the first ones to drop. Texas
Yeah,
Chainsaw
Scream. Like
Massacre.
I haven't seen Scream in a while, and I was like, I don't even remember much about it. I remember liking it, but did I like it more than this movie I just watched?
I
Yeah, I
watched
don't
it with the kids, and I liked it a lot better. And now they're really excited about Scream 6. So, all right, we have
Heaven helps.
5 movies that did not make the cut, but are definitely worth checking out. And I will tell you where to find them. So number 5, I didn't make graphics for this because I ran out of time. But number 5 is The Seed, which is one of my picks. It's a fun movie. Did anybody else watch The Seed?
No, I was going to, but
It's about these 2 Instagram influencer bitches that they go out to some ritzy place out in the desert. It's got a pool and all this different stuff, and they're gonna shoot some kind of influencer thing. And then their one weird friend who's not weird, she's regular. But then this like meteor comes down, and it's got this turtle creature that seduces them like telepathically, and it's really fucking weird, and I love it. It's just ridiculous. It's a fun movie. It's not by any means great. It's just a fun movie. Number 4 is Glorious, which Seth and I know for sure had on our list.
I did. I think.
Nate, did you?
I think so, but it was low. But it's one of those movies where it was like it's so good, but it's in that middle 30 where I'm like, where do I put it?
It's like
J.K. Simmons.
Did you? I don't remember if you saw it, Jared. Did you see it?
I did not. I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, I watched the movie, the trailer. I was like, this is weird. I watched the movie, and I'm like, you can do a lot in a public restroom, on a rest stop on the highway, for a movie, because they did a ton in this movie. And it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and buddy of mine, Joshua Hull, was one of the writers on it. I almost did a film with him about 10 years ago. So I'm really excited for him. It's a pretty big deal, big movie, really.
Yeah, and it was fun. I know Seth liked it too. Seth, I think you ended up liking it more than I expected you to, honestly.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked the lead actor in it. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, he was from
and
True
like
Blood.
the reveal character at the end.
Mm-hmm. Really, really weird movie. All right. Number 3 is one that I really enjoyed. I watched it while I had a fever, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much. It's called Christmas Bloody Christmas. I loved how colorful it was,
Oh
how
my
dark
goodness.
it was, and it was just one of those fun slasher Christmas movies. I know Seth liked it too.
Did you?
I did. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a
Cheesy,
good
but fun.
time. And I know this was I've seen it, but it's not on my top 25. Justin Seaman, who's a friend of the show, and we all know him, I think, except for Seth, because Seth's a loser. No, I'm joking, Seth. You're not a loser. Anyway, The Barn Part 2. It was fucking wild. This one, it's a bigger budget, crazy sets. Justin really came through in a Barn sequel. Nate, did you do art for this one? No, you did art
No,
for the first one. Okay.
I did it on the first one.
Yeah. So, Jared, you want to say anything real fast?
He definitely upped everything like 1,000%.
You gotta.
So
He took
one-
the sequel montage and just ran with it.
Oh yeah, he did. Plus, we got to see a lot of people we know in that, like Mike Lombardo
Yes.
makes a cameo, and
Yes.
a bunch of indie horror. It's like who's who of indie horrors in that movie.
Did you watch the special features for
I didn't
that?
have a chance yet. No.
Really?
So
they actually had a interview with I don't know the gal's name. She was the blonde girl in the movie, and they talked about the video store scene that Lombardo was in.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So apparently this room was literally like a 6x6 room. Literally just had videotapes all over it. So it was a very small room. And there's 12 people in the room.
Jesus. During COVID.
And, yeah, during COVID or after COVID or whatever, whenever they filmed it. But then she said something happened. Somebody farted.
Oh my God, it was probably Lombardo.
I know. I totally called him out on it. He's like, I don't think it was me.
It had to be Lombardo. I know that guy. Anyway, this one, the next one of our honorable mentions, I'm kind of disappointed to make the list because when I watched this, I think Nate, did you bring this one up? Because I was like, I'm kind of done with watching horror movies from 2022 at this point. But I watched it, The Hatching, and I was like, holy fucking shit, this movie's awesome.
Yeah, I was watching it. I told you guys, you gotta see this. This is practical effects. It's very unique. A little girl is a gymnast. Her mother is like would you say like an influencer
Kind of,
online, and so she's trying to paint the perfect image of family. And there's a bird hurt itself in their yard, and she takes the bird and
it's like
the mother snaps the
shit.
neck.
Yeah.
But the bird's still alive and it's crying out in the middle of the night, and the girl goes out into the woods and finds an egg left by the dead bird, and the bird dies, and she takes the egg and basically becomes the mother of the egg until it hatches in this.
And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. You don't want to ruin it, but it is. It's I think it's. Is it from Norway or Sweden?
It's one of those. That's another one of those Finnish type movies.
I want to say Norway.
And it's fucking fantastic.
It really is.
It should be in our top 25, but I think it's just a lot of these movies. The order. That's the problem. Some of the problem is like some of us see some of us don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you may see, that's why I changed the way I did it. I said, all right, anybody's top 10 is going to be in the list. I'm going to start with a 10 because like say Jared, his number 1 is he's the only one that saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't want that movie to end up at the very bottom or not even make the list. Not that it wouldn't, because it's number 1. He's going to get up there. But because we hadn't seen it, that hurts its ranking and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want that to happen. I want his number 1 to be in the top 10 or wherever it falls. I can't remember where it is, but so that's the thing. Like Bones and All, I think I'm the only one that saw that. I think Seth had he's our werewolf guy, so he sees all the werewolf movies.
Yeah.
So like none of us are as obsessed with werewolves as he is. So he sees all these movies we don't even know exist, and we're like, wow, he's got like 5 werewolf movies on it. I've heard of one. He's like,
He
and
said
he loves
Werewolf
them.
Castle. Like
Yeah.
what?
So I don't want those to be like knocked off because he really likes them, and that's
Yeah.
not just because it's not our thing, or some of us are busier than others. Some of them are still in theaters or whatever. So there's a lot of great movies that we don't all get to see, and I think The Hatching is one. I think if all four of us saw it, it would probably be on the list because
I think
it's
so.
a really strong movie.
I agree with
I was
you.
gonna say.
The practical effects are amazing. The girl actor, was it two different actresses? Because either she was amazing or they both were amazing. Either way, amazing for someone so young. I really enjoyed that movie. I really liked it. Werewolves Rule. Man.
I love
Werewolf
werewolf movies.
Castle.
I love werewolves, but Seth watches anything werewolf.
Yeah.
So he even say it's not a good movie, but I like it.
Werewolf horror. Okay, that's what I call Seth. All right, so Seth, he told me he was thinking about changing his given name to Eddie Quist. So anyway, before we get to the top 25, which we're getting to in a minute, subscribe, please. I'm tired of asking you, and the Facebook, whatever. All right, you guys ready for the top 25? I know you guys have seen it, but not everybody here has seen the list, of course. I don't know if Jared got to see it or not, because things get buried in the in the chat because we conversate throughout the day for the most part. So yeah, did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and so according to the four of us, these are the best of the best for the most part of 2022, and we'll start with I guess I'd say one of my favorites was Hellbender. And it's a witch. I don't know what it is. Like I just realized after I watched The Witch a few years ago that I like witch movies. I don't know why, because I really get a kick out of watching anything that has to do with witches. And this one is about a mom and a daughter, and the daughter. It's almost like a coming of age story. And I don't want to give too much away. It's on Shudder. Check it out, because I don't want to tell you what happens in it. But I really like it. I like the dynamic switch at the end of the movie also. But this girl has basically lived in the woods with her mom all of her life. They eat like twigs and berries and shit. It's really just an interesting.
And they make heavy metal music together.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right. The mom.
Heavy metal music.
I remember the
Good,
trailer.
too. I like their music.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked.
That's
Hellbender.
one of the ones I didn't get to.
Hellbender's
one I
actually
think
the
I
movie that
think-
made me want to watch more horror for 2022. So that's why.
Yeah, this is one of those early ones. I think I was the one that told you guys watching. I was like, this movie's really fucking different and interesting, and it's low budget, but it's so interesting.
It is.
And unique that I was like, this. You guys got to check this out. This is going to be a.
There are like 5 actors in it total.
Yeah, it's a very small movie, but again, just unique. Like I said, it's like people living off the grid who are witches, I guess, and they make heavy metal music together. The mom and daughter, and then the girl meets somebody from the outside, and it's kind of a you don't want to venture off into the real world.
One thing I kept thinking after seeing it was it reminded me of the Sith, because there are only 2 of them, and I don't want to give away the ending, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So anyway, so 25 is Hellbender.
Samuel L. Jackson gets his hand cut off. It's
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, he calls her a motherfucker.
He's motherfucking snakes. He's hellbenders.
So we'll move on to number 24, which is Deadstream.
God,
It was okay for me. I think Nate, you were the one that really got a kick out
I
of this one.
fucking love this movie.
Yes.
This guy was so fun. This was like, to me, like maybe the closest thing since Cabin Fever that felt like Evil Dead. It just felt like Evil Dead to me, and but
I could see that.
this guy is even goofier than Ash, and he's like a podcaster who's going into a supposed haunted building house on Halloween night, I think, or
And
I
wasn't
can't
he like
remember.
being canceled or something too, like socially
Yeah.
canceled?
He was trying to save his ass.
Yeah.
And
With this.
he's just like from the very beginning, like he's like, all right, I know myself, so I'm not gonna let myself chicken out. So he takes his car keys and throws them in the woods. I'm like, are you shitting me? And doesn't he like nail the door once he climbs in? He like nails himself
Yeah.
in, and he locks himself in and throws a key down the furnace vent or something. And it's like it's just found footage movie with just him, really, his camera up in his face, and his POV, and he's hilarious. He's really entertaining. It just turns to this wow. It has that Sam Raimi energy to me.
Yeah, I can see that. It's one that I'd like to revisit because when I watched it, I was like, God, this guy's annoying. But after watching the movie Dashcam, which I didn't get to, I forgot we were going to pick one movie that everybody needs to see, which we'll do towards the end. But Dashcam, after watching that, I was like, I need to go back and watch Deadstream, which I haven't gotten the chance to do, because it's kind of like watching Dashcam. I was like, okay, we're supposed to not like this girl. And I think that this guy is supposed to be one of those YouTubers or whatever that you're not really supposed to like.
There's
you know what I mean?
couple of these movies like that. There's another one that's not on our list called something Baker Tape.
The Andy Baker or something
Andy
like that.
Baker Tape, and it was really good. It reminded me of Creep, but it was like, this guy did one of those blood tests where he found out a relative, like a long lost brother from another mother kind of thing, and he like hunts him down and meets him, and he's like this guy, kind of a hick living out, and this guy's he's going to be like a cooking show host on the Food Network, and he's filming himself. And now I don't want to give anything away, but it's very entertaining too. It's another.
Where's that one? That one's on Hulu, isn't it?
It's on one of the Hulus or Primes or something, or Pluto or.
Did anybody else see Deadstream?
No.
Okay. So that's number 24, and that is on Shudder. Number 23 is also on Shudder, and it's called Sissy. And the posters, the trailers don't do it justice. The first half of the movie is kind of like whatever, but then it picks up and kicks you right in your balls, and your balls go right in your throat. And you're like, holy fucking shit! And I like hit me right away. I think I was the first to watch it. It was good.
Yeah, I think you watched it with your daughter, right?
Yeah, Elena loved it.
She loved it. I absolutely loved this movie. I thought it was so entertaining. You want to tell me what it's about, or? It's
a girl. With
another influencer.
Yeah, she's an influencer. Again, there's a lot of influencer movies. She's an influencer, and she reconnects with some of her old friends from high school or even further back. I think it was more like they're like elementary or and something happened where one of the girls hates her now, and the one's getting married, and they all try to reconnect, and nobody really wants this girl Sissy there, and
she's kind of stuck there.
Yeah, and she's an outcast to them.
Yeah,
and you don't know why, and eventually they reveal it, and you find out it's just fucking a wild movie. I was watching, I was like, God, this movie, and then all of a sudden, like, bam, it hit me. I'm like, holy crap! And by the end, I was like, I love this movie.
You could almost compare this. This would be a double feature with Barbarian. It's kind of one of those movies where it has a lot of different tones to it.
Yeah.
And just keeps kind of unfolding and going wackier and crazier. And yeah, I think Sissy's one of the winners. I think it's one of those ones that could be in a top 10 in another year.
Yeah, and Seth, I know you didn't care for it as much as Nate and I.
It's a Sissy.
I liked it. It's just like the first half is a little difficult for me, especially with the score. It's just so, it's like I'm not the target audience for this one with how glittery.
Did you watch it with your daughter? They probably would have liked it.
No, well, they don't watch anything anymore because they're too busy on their fucking phones.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I like the actress that played Sissy. I like the idea that she was someone who has issues. She's a very flawed character, which is what I like.
Yeah.
And she has issues, and she's trying to help herself, and she wants to help others too. She wants to use.
That's right.
She wants to use her own method to help herself and help others. And then there's that, I really like that scene where she was talking to her old friend's fiance, who's an actual psychiatrist. And, like I felt bad for Sissy in that moment because like, that she wants to help people. She just doesn't have the degrees.
Right.
But yeah, and then it gets pretty fun. I really like the accident involved, or the kill involving a car accident.
Yeah,
that was the standout.
It's a fun movie. I suggest it to anyone as well. It's on Shudder. Definitely check it out. It exceed expectations, and I told Seth when you watch it, sneaky good.
Yeah.
That's the best way I could describe it. Seth, you take the lead on number 22, A Wounded Fawn. I know you and Nate liked it. This was just not my cup of tea, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, A Wounded Fawn is basically about a guy who he kills women. That's right from the start. It's not really so much a spoiler.
No, it's
and
like
he
10
has,
minutes in.
yeah, he has an appreciation for the arts, and he's got some issues. He sees this giant red owl person, and
Yeah.
yeah, and so then he takes this chick who's like a museum curator to his place in the woods, and things just kind of go crazy from there. It's a weird movie. It's hard to explain. It gets really, really bizarre by the end, but I dig it, man.
This was made by the guy of one of Ray's favorites last year, Jacob's Wife, same filmmaker.
Yeah. I had hope for it because I really liked Jacob's Wife last year. And I mean, it's not a bad movie. I'm not saying that. It's just like, for me, I was like, I don't know. This is just too much for me. You know, like if that makes any sense.
It was very unique. It went places I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And the ending and the ending credits are just
oh my god. My favorite part. To be completely honest, the girl, she's just standing there while he's.
Let's not give it away.
Yeah,
She's just like looking at her nails.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like I'm sitting there like I should turn this off, but I can't because it goes all the way through the credits. Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just like it might be one of those ones where I have to put the Keith rule in effect and watch it multiple times, and I only got the chance to watch it once. We're gonna call that the Keith rule from now on. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times.
That was the one I suggested to Seth because I was like, if he's gonna like anything in this group that he hasn't seen, I think that's one he'll gravitate toward.
Yeah, you suggested it to Seth, and I'm like, I got time to watch another one, so I watched it that night too. But anyway, it's that one is on. Is it on Shudder? Yeah, it's on Shudder, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Seth, you're taking the lead again on number 21, which is Moloch. I like this movie, and it had very many vibes, and Hereditary is one of them. Go ahead. I said you take the lead, and I start. I've got a problem. Go.
Yeah, it's a Dutch movie, right? And it's
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a combination of Dutch language and English language. It's about a woman who she's raising a daughter. When she was young, her grandmother was killed in the house mysteriously, and things start to happen when a body is discovered in a mine nearby of a woman, and there's a family curse. I don't want to say too much about it, but definitely a slow burn. But again, like I said in the beginning when I overtalked through my list, I really dig the way that this ended. I thought it was very satisfying, and yeah.
Not to mention there are a lot of great character moments in this movie, and you really start to enjoy and not really enjoy, but you really start to connect with some of these characters, and that's one of the things I love about watching movies is being able to connect with characters, on a different level, or get, what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Anyway, Nate, did you see Moloch?
I did. This is one of those ones where I think it was maybe came out in that first half of the year where I really liked it. And I completely forgot what it was until I saw this image. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what that movie was. Like, it was a good one. It's just one of those ones where it was good, but, more came along. And the more it just keeps going down the list as you keep watching movies and get excited about one. You're like, should I put that above Moloch? Yeah, I don't remember Moloch that much, but I do remember Moloch being good.
Yeah, it's I think it's
great
really
imagery,
good.
really striking imagery. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There is a lot to this movie. I think I really like the tone of the movie, and as there's a mystery, and as the mystery, and you get very involved in the mystery of what that body that Seth was talking. It's really good. It was one of my favorites until I got deeper into the year, of course. Anyway, moving on to one of Nate's favorites, and I keep forgetting about the percentages. Uh, Bones and All is not streaming anywhere. You have to. I don't even know if it's in the theater anymore. It. By the way, 90% of our audience is the audience score in this one. Nate.
This is yeah, I love this movie. This is a top 10. Again, this is one I'm the only one that saw it. It made my top 10, I think, or maybe not.
You
Yeah,
know, I think it did.
It
I'm pretty
did.
sure it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, this is the new film from Luca Guadagnino or whatever his name is. That made Suspiria, which we talked about on our last episode, I think.
Yeah.
And he did Call Me by Your Name, and he's back with Timothy Chalamet, and
This guy's getting to be huge, man.
Oh, he's like the guy now
Yeah.
for young actors, and he's really fantastic in this. The young girl who I really like, she was in those escape plan movies, which I haven't watched, but she was also in a movie called Waves that was really fucking good from a couple of years ago. An A24 film, I think. But she's fantastic. And then Mark Rylance, who Steven Spielberg's used a lot, plays a very creepy kind of villain, interesting character in the film. But basically, it's kind of a cannibal movie where the movie it's set in the 80s, I believe, like early 80s, mid 80s. No, late 80s, sorry. And she and her dad kind of are living in this kind of shitty house, and she's hanging out with these girls that she's just met. They've been living there for like a week or two. And these girls invite her over for like a sleepover. She's probably, I don't know how old she is, 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there. And she's hanging under the table with the girls, and the girls are doing talking boys and stuff like that, and the girls putting fingernail polish on her hands. This is in the opening, so I'm not giving too much away. And she showing her hands, like look at the color, and she bites her finger and won't let go, and the girl's like, what the fuck are you doing? They're pulling her off because there's something about it that she craves human flesh. She's a cannibal, and her dad knows about it, and basically her dad abandons her. And now she's on her own, and her mother left her when she was young, so she has no one. She's just a teenager now who's just living on her own. Her dad gave her all the money he could give her, said, I can't do this anymore, because they keep having to uproot because she'll have an incident where she attacks somebody or kills somebody or eats people, So now she's like this cannibal young girl on the road. And she meets Timothy Chalamet, who's like her. And she runs into a few people who are like her. And she didn't know anybody like her. She didn't. It was one of those. It made me feel like if they made a prequel to the movie or the True Knot from Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah,
it felt like if they're not vampires, but they don't suck. If the True Knot were cannibals, that's what it felt like. Like if. Just these kind of, or even like the characters in Near Dark, where you just got these kind of nomadic people who are different, and it's kind of a road movie is really what it turns into. And I think it's just fantastic. I think it's a really good, strong film. I loved it. Cinematography. And one of my friends, Max Solis, who I just worked with in my film, has a cameo, and he got to do a scene with him. And I was excited to see Max in it. Max is a guy we almost lost to COVID. He's a Vietnam veteran, so he got to live through COVID and be in this movie as well.
You did mention that on your Facebook. Yeah, this is probably the one movie of the year that I missed that I wanted to see the most. I can't wait to see it. So that Bones and All is not streaming yet. I know eventually
you can rent it for about $20.
Yeah, $20 to rent. It may still be in theaters here. Sean Sheridan actually said he's dying to see this one, which is surprising. Because we all know Sean at this point. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's a cannibal movie, but it's not like Cannibal Holocaust or anything, guys. No. It's a drama. it's a love story drama road movie thing. So,
did you ever see Raw?
I did not see that one. I need to. I saw Titane, her follow up.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen Raw either, but I've heard it's a cannibal movie as well. It's pretty good. Number 19, Mandrake for Jared. Jared, are you ready to go into this one a little bit?
A little bit. This is one of those movies that
It's on Shutter, right?
yes, it was on Shudder, I believe. It's one of those folk horror movies that you need to feel like you need to watch it more than once to understand what's going on. This is that movie. It blew me away. I'd be lying if I told you I understood everything that was going on in this movie.
Mhm.
Because there's this, it's a mandrake flower, and basically the flower will come around at certain points during events of people's lives. Okay. So I mean, like there's a lot of this that is in folk history that I do not understand at all. So I'd be lying if I completely understood what happened in this movie. But it was really good.
Well, the lead is like a witch, I think, or something, and these kids go missing, and she's on house arrest. It's a weird movie, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's on Shudder. Unfortunately, only 2 people voted on it and it was a 50%. So I guess one person didn't like it, but it's definitely worth checking out. I liked it enough. Anybody else watch Mandrake?
It was on my list, but I didn't get to it.
Ah, okay. It's worth watching. It's on Shudder. Check it out if you can. We'll move on to one that was voted with a 53% audience score, Seth. Tell us why that's inaccurate.
I don't know. Yeah, so the Cursed is it begins with a property dispute between a wealthy asshole and the local people who run the place,
A wealthy asshole.
and a bunch of gypsies.
Well,
The gypsies have claim to the land, and so basically the rich assholes want to run the gypsies off the land. And so what they do is they hire mercenaries, but what happens is the mercenaries slaughter the entire gypsy camp. And the 2 focused gypsies, a woman and this man, they get killed brutally, and the woman puts a curse on the land, and the guy previously made this like set of teeth out of silver.
mm-hmm. They were
And
cool looking.
right, and so then all of a sudden, everyone around after this, because of the deaths of the gypsies were kind of covered up, but everyone else around in the town, because of the curse, they start to have a dream about a field with a scarecrow, and and some kids find out where it actually is. They dig up the teeth, and from there begins the curse. And then you have Boyd Holbrook, Ray's favorite actor. He comes in, and he's a pathologist who had experience with something similar in his past. But yeah, it's a slow burn, but it's unique, and I dig it.
Kentucky boy, Boyd Holbrook.
I don't know what it is about him that I don't like. There's just like
I
these
like
weird-
him.
There's actors that there's something about them I don't like until I see them in something I like them in.
Have you
Like,
seen? Did you see Vengeance this year? The
Mm-mm.
B.J. Novak comedy.
Oh no, I haven't
Oh
seen that.
no, it's on my list though.
He's in that. He plays.
Okay.
It's kind of the Woody Harrelson in a Doc Hollywood type role.
Oh
Like the charismatic country boy.
yeah, the trailer for that looked cool.
Yeah, that's a fun movie.
So The Cursed is on Hulu, I believe, right?
It's a really nice looking film too. The
Yeah,
Curse.
it actually is.
I really
Shot
like
really
the
well.
art direction and
I like the posters also. I've seen for it. That's one of the things that got me interested. And then
but it does sound like a generic straight to video. One of those ones you'd see at like Redbox or something. Like, what the fuck
Yeah.
is that? The Cursed. What?
terrible title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like some movies, like it's weird how some titles just don't like. I watched the trailer today for the new what's his name, the guy from 300.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, Gerard Butler movie is just called Plane. It was like it's a movie just.
Are they
Plane.
giving up?
It's just a movie on a plane. It's just called Plane. It's like, what is this? Like generic X brand X movie titles.
Well, did you notice
Plane.
that like a lot of the movies that we went through this year had one word titles?
Yeah.
It's like, are we coming? Like me and you, Nate, we've talked about it that in the past about how great some of the titles were in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and early 80s.
Well,
and,
it works when it does. Like Barbarian works because it's like, what is Barbarian? What is this about?
right.
But like this movie is about a plane and it's called Plane. It's like it's just,
Well, I can't wait to watch Feet. It's about somebody who walks.
The script was written in crayon.
Yeah.
Plane.
All right, number 17, Jared. Back to you. You won't be alone.
This won't be alone.
Apparently, you are alone because you're the only one who saw it. But go ahead.
Yes, and I'm totally fine with that. That's why I said to you guys there will be a movie on my list nobody's seen. It was the same way last year. Like, I don't know.
What was it last
buddy.
year?
Huh?
What was it last year?
The Feast?
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that one.
Not surprised. Anyways, Numi, she was the one that kind of locked me into this one. On the basis of it, it doesn't feel like a horror movie, but when you actually get locked into it, it is a total fucking horrific film. Without giving too much away, I already mentioned a little bit earlier, but it is the evolution of a young girl who becomes a witch, trying to find her way through life and wanting either to decide to become a witch or actually be a human being. It's very dramatic. There's a lot of tear-jerking moments. It doesn't feel like a horror movie, but there is enough fucking nastiness that makes it a horror movie. But
I'd like to try to watch this one if I ever catch it on streaming, because it sounds like it's a pretty darn good movie overall. So
Yeah, it's
I always try to find movies that nobody else watches in this group. It's hard to do.
yeah, so do I. That's why my number one is something that you guys have never watched. I'm just joking. Anyway, it's Barbarian. I think wasn't that one of the top grossing horror movies of the year? Anyway, number 16 is Fresh. My former girlfriend Sherry brought this to my attention and told me I needed to watch it, and I was like, listen, I don't watch it unless it's horror. If this is not a horror movie, I'm gonna just not watch it. And she said, go fuck yourself, watch Fresh. I was like, no, fuck you. And she was like, no, fuck you. And then we had sex. No, I'm joking. No, she put it on for me at her house one day, and I was so tired. I didn't think I'd get through it. And man, I watched the whole thing because, first of all, Sebastian Stan's performance, this guy is a great actor, I think, in my opinion. He's very versatile. He's really good in this movie. He's got this charm to him, and then later on, it completely flips. And I can't remember the actress's name, but she was really good. This movie starts out feeling like a rom-com of some kind, and then kind of turns it on its head about 30 minutes in. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, this is a really good film.
The funny thing is, though, watching that movie, A Wounded Fawn, you almost got the same vibe from
Yes, exactly. I felt very familiar when I was watching Wounded Fawn. But yeah, like this one, like I'm not big on cannibals because cannibal movies are generally just so gory and violent. And I thought, and when I saw this and it was called Fresh, I knew it was about cannibalism. I'm like, I don't want to sit through that. But then I watched it, and like you said, it was a very pleasant, entertaining movie that turns into a very dark, psycho. You could throw this on with Barbarian; it'd be a good double feature.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got that same entertaining value where it just keeps going in other places.
Yeah, our audience gave it an 83%. And if you're wondering how I did that, it's they ranked it on a scale of 1 to 9. I took them total and divided by how many people rated it, and that's how I got 83%. Anyway, it's 83%. I liked it. I can't recommend it enough. It's on Shudder. It's on Hulu. I also, by the way, I wanted to tell you guys, I think 67% of the horror movies I watched this year were from Shudder. That's of 58. That's insane. So anyway,
and then you get people who are like, "Is Shudder worth it?"
Yes.
In horror groups, Shudder worth getting.
I mean, they've got like right now they have the Elm Street movies. They have 4 of the Halloween movies, Hellraiser 2, I think 1, 2, and 4 maybe. You know, and plus Texas Chainsaw Massacre's on there, and then there's a flood of Italian movies on there, and then Shudder's getting all of the
Joe Bob
movies.
Briggs shit too.
Yeah, Joe Bob Briggs every Friday in the springtime, but then Shudder gets all these exclusive movies that you won't get to see anywhere else, and that's the best part about Shudder. Because honestly, if I do the quick math, I probably would have only seen maybe 18 movies this year if it wasn't for Shudder. And I think Shudder needs to start fucking paying us because we talk about it too damn much. Anyway, moving on to number 15, Nate. This one's for you. I watched it. Seth watched it. The Innocents.
This was the most disturbing fucking movie I've seen in a long time. Where it's any movie about children doing horrible things, and this little girl in the movie does some atrocious things, what makes a lot of people turn it off. Like, the little boy, I think it's a boy or the girl does something where people usually turn it off. It's a Swedish film, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just this little girl has a sister who is handicapped and mute, and she's kind of cruel to her, and I think just maybe feels burdened by her. And they start hanging out with these neighborhood kids. It's been a while since I watched it, so I don't remember everything about it. It's just very well made, and it's just one of those movies where a lot of people aren't going to be able to sit through it because of the cruelty and the. It's just a very disturbing. Like this movie and another movie that didn't make our list, Speak No Evil, which was I think another Swedish film.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those this year.
Both of those were the most uncomfortable, upsetting movies I saw this year. And it's not about gore. It's not. It's about the situation and how people treat one another. And I don't know. I think both of them are probably in some ways masterpieces of the genre. In some ways, I think they're both required to check out. And not a lot of people are going to dig it again because it is so upsetting. And but for it's basically a children's film. Like I don't think there's a lot of adults in the film. If they are, they're very rarely on screen.
It's just the parents of each child.
Yeah, and the children really do a great job.
Well, they lead the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And I think it's a phenomenal film. I think it was. I said this is instantly in my top 5, and then of course I kept seeing more movies, and I think it's in my top 10. I think it's in like 6 or 7 or something. But I was just. Where is it? It's number 4. Yeah, so I need to watch it again because I only saw it the one time, but I just found this movie is really fucking me up. It's just. I don't see that kind of. You see evil kid movies all the time, and I think this one doesn't play like all the others. It's just because kids. I think it really taps into the lack of empathy that some kids do have. They really do. I think it's a more honest portrayal of. It's not like, oh, this kid's evil because he looks evil and he's doing. No, it's the evilness of kids who don't know any better. Or aren't understanding that of their actions and how the consequences come from it. I think it's handled in a more. If we're not paying attention to our kids, bad shit can happen.
Seth said something to me the other day about this movie. Like his favorite thing is how the older sister was such an asshole, or something like that. But yeah, she was. It's an interesting movie, and it's definitely worth watching. It's on Shudder. Our audience gave it a 71%, kind of low, but it's weird. Most of the scores are in the 70s actually, but
So everybody
Yeah,
gonna give you a -10 and -4.
yeah, those
and-
I don't even count. I don't even count those. That's stupid. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no negative when it comes to rating something.
uh,
I don't count zeros either. But yeah, it's definitely one to check out.
I am the
um,
edge.
What?
I am the Lord of the Edge.
Oh,
-10.
-10, -187, man. The next one is I wasn't gonna watch this one, but I listened to our young brother Keith, and I didn't know it was on Shudder. Also, it's called The Sadness, and it's what was this? This was Korean, right?
Is
Yes.
it Korean? Yeah.
Yeah, our audience gave it a 75%. I know that a lot of people. I read a lot of things about the. There's a lot they have sex. They rape people at points in this movie, but it's such an odd movie. It starts off so calm and like a morning routine with this man and his girlfriend, and then the movie's basically about them two trying to get back to each other for the most part, while all this
Right.
carnage is happening for no reason. Almost it seems like all over town, and it's just blood. Probably some of the most blood I've seen since Dead Alive.
I think Jared was right on the money in that it's got those links to Train to Busan. It's not as strong of a story as Train to Busan.
Train to Busan was heart wrenching more than
Yeah.
this was.
It doesn't
yeah.
have those emotions. This is a far more cruel film than
Yeah.
Train to Busan. It's kind of got ties to that, but it's also got ties to like 28 Days Later, where they're not dead. They're just
Yeah,
fucking insane, and
That's a
they're
good
just
point.
attacking.
Right.
Only the difference here is, as you said, they're also like sexually driven too. So there's a lot of rape and
it's
stuff like that.
it's like your inhibitions are gone.
Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Because
This movie should be called Barbarian.
really, it could be. Well, think about the guy on the train that sits next to that girl that tries to drum up a conversation with her, and he's kind of a timid man, an older man, and then as soon as he gets the stuff, he just goes fucking ballistic.
It's like it reminds me of that fucking line that Patton Oswalt said about like why we needed the Bible, why we needed religion, because before that it was just the strongest survived. Like the big guys, like I don't think I'm gonna have rape for dinner.
Oh my God.
and we needed the Nord guy to go, hey, wait, dude, chill out. If you don't do that, there's this place in the sky that you can have all the cake you want. I like cake.
I like cake.
Did we all see this one?
Yeah, I saw it. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, it was overall good. I know there were moments that I'm like, but overall, it was like the lead, the male lead, and the female lead were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like to see more of them.
And the main bad guy, the guy that keeps following her
Yeah.
around, was good.
Well, the shit that was coming out of his mouth, man.
Yeah.
You know, the shit he was,
Yes.
the stuff that they were saying was fucking harsh.
And that's what I was alluding to earlier. It's like their frontal lobe completely got destroyed, and all the inhibitions and all of the things that would make you like take back in those moments were all disregarded with these guys. Like you already have the zombie rage feeling, but your inhibitions are completely gone as well. So.
Yeah.
You throw that in there too.
Yeah, overall, it was good. Wasn't even going to look at this because just it didn't appeal to me. But you know, I listened to brother Keith, and he didn't steer me wrong.
It was a good one.
Yeah, he said this was his number one until he saw the one that I didn't have time to watch. Nate,
I
did you
didn't
watch
either.
that other one?
What was the other?
Well, the one he mentioned the other day.
Oh, the Midnight. Yeah.
I think it was called Midnight. Yeah.
Midnight was a South Korean film, and I watched it this week, and it was phenomenal. It would have probably made my top 10. Probably.
Yeah, I had to. I'm sorry, I had to say, please don't change your list.
Yeah, I didn't change my list, but
Balls deep into this.
Midnight is streaming for free on Tubi, and it's a serial killer movie where the serial killer is killing this girl in an alleyway, and the main character in the movie is this deaf girl, and she's taking her mom home, and she drops her mom off to park the car in the garage and help her up to apartment, and the serial killer's in that alley, spots the mom, and decides, well, I'm going to kill her too. But then it becomes a chase movie. It's like a almost real time movie where he decides to chase this blind girl or mute girl, and she's not blind, she's mute. So you get this really great thriller where you got this very smart, slick, cool as shit killer, handsome, looks like it's a Ted Bundy type killer, but she can't communicate with people because she's deaf. So when she's like in danger, she's trying to say, and they don't understand her.
Right.
He can come in and go, that's my sister. She's got problems, and I'm just trying to get her home. That kind of thing. So it's a great fucking movie like that. It's just it's really good. It's solid.
Keith, so those are Keith's top two. He used to be a part of the show. If anybody didn't know, so Sadness, if he was here, it probably would have made the top 10.
It'd been on the list if Keith was on the show.
Oh yeah. So moving on to number 12, and Seth, let's talk about Off Season.
Okay, let's talk about it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the story because I've only seen this the once.
So her mom, what is she dying or something like that, and doesn't want to go home, or so, I can't remember. It was good. All I remember is loving this movie and thinking, actually, Jared, this is when I watched it, I was like, Jared would love this.
I know. I didn't get a chance to watch it, so guys, take it away.
Yeah, well, the movie starts with like the mother. She's confessing about her past. She's talking a lot about her past, and how she didn't want to go home. And then it cuts to sometime later. You find out she did pass away, and she was buried against her will, pretty much, on this island that she used to live at. Mm-hmm. And something happens where her headstone is desecrated, and so her daughter is called, and her daughter and her fiance, they come into they come to the island, and then a lot of really weird stuff goes down. I can't really describe it. It's a lot of very it's very Lovecraft. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Dagon.
Totally felt like Dagon a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could see that totally. It's really definitely a good movie. It's kind of a slow movie, which apparently Jocelyn Donahue loves being slow movies. But I liked it, and she's got to be one of the most underrated actresses out there. Doesn't get enough praise for what she does. I think she's great and beautiful. Yeah, maybe that's all it is. Anyway, I liked Off Season. This one was on Shudder as well, right?
Yep.
Audience score of 63%. Go, Horror Syndicate followers.
That's too low. This is a good movie.
Yeah, that's really low. And Jared, absolutely, whenever you get a chance, even though you're not there, check it out. All right, just outside of the top 10, we've got the Marvel Werewolf by Night. It's a 73% audience score, and it is streaming on Disney Plus. I know Nate and Seth really enjoyed it. It was good. You guys take it away.
Well, this was one of those ones. Well, this is one that,
I knew it.
Well, this is.
It was like a face-off, waiting for one of the others to talk, and then you go at the same time. That was awesome.
This is one of those ones that's like came up for debate because even the Disney said that it's not a movie, it's not a short film, it's a special event like, Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and I'm like, what? No, it's a 55-minute film, and I think it's fucking awesome. Like I'd never really read the comics. I didn't really know what to expect, but Michael, who was great composer, makes his first film. He did the Batman earlier this year, the music, and he does the music for this, which is fantastic. But I just really, if I want to see more of this world, I want to see Blade, and I want to see all these characters come into this world
Midnight Sun universe kind of thing.
I mean, look at this. The werewolf is awesome. I mean, he's awesome makeup, awesome work, great cast. It was just an entertaining movie. I just had a blast. It was a great, solid 55 minutes of entertainment that was very entertaining and throwback, and you had Universal throws, and then you had Man Thing in there, and all these really cool things.
That's what got me was Man Thing. Seeing
Yeah.
because they made a Man Thing movie in like 2004 or something like that. It was terrible. When seeing him and as big as he was, I was like, okay, that's really cool. But yeah, I like the way the one thing I will say about this is I like the way it was directed because it did take you right back to the 1930s and 1940s Universal style movie.
Yeah. And if you watch it, there's also a documentary on Disney called Director by Night, and it's a documentary that the filmmaker's brother filmed while they were making it. So it's a great film of the making.
No, I had Elena do it because you were on the podcast.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. He's not talking to us. All right.
Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, so I considered it a movie as well because to me, it would be hypocritical for me not to, because when I did my Carpenter ranking list, I included his Masters of Horror, arguing that they're essentially short films. Werewolf by Night was really good. I really like the style, going back to the Universal stuff, which I'm a huge fan of, obviously, if you see my background. And I really liked the werewolf action. I just wish that there was more of it. Like most of the time, I'm like, okay, so when is he gonna turn?
Mm-hmm.
And then he does turn, and it's awesome. And then after that,
When is it gonna happen?
Over. Yeah, and then it's over. So like, I wish it was longer. I wish it was an actual full length movie. But it was a lot of fun. Fun performances too from the lead actor. I liked the story idea of, like, he's there to protect Man Thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I kind of bought into that friendship. Yeah, good stuff. I like it.
Yeah, it's great that the monster sneaks in to save his buddy who's going to be hunted. I mean, it's cool. I was just really pleasantly surprised with it because I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And maybe my favorite thing Marvel did this year on TV.
I think I could agree with that.
I think that's not hard to do.
Probably not hard to be. I mean, well, I did love She-Hulk. I'll say that. I know a lot of
like
people
She-Hulk till the end.
I fucking loved She. At the end was fucking genius.
Well, I know Moon Knight was this year, wasn't it? I thought Moon Knight.
I didn't like Moon Knight very
You didn't
much.
like Moon Knight?
No, I love Oscar Isaac. I could not.
Well, that's
get into it.
part of it. I'll eat everything up he's on. I got that man crush going for him. He's great. So we're getting in the top 10, people. So if you haven't already, fucking subscribe. Okay. Sorry. Not sorry. Yeah. I'm not gonna explain She-Hulk. I'll wait. So number 10, coming in at number 10 is Seth's favorite, Scream 5. We've all seen this, I think, right?
Yep.
It's not the best Scream movie, not the worst Scream movie, but it is a Scream movie. The second time I watched it, I liked it a lot more, and that's why it moved up on my list, because I watched it with the kids, and they just eat everything up when it comes to Scream. And I had a lot more fun with it this time. I think, like, when I saw it in the theater, I had a really bad experience because there are these people who kept switching seats and stuff. I just, sometimes I hate going to the theater because of stuff like that. Anyway, oh, look at this. What the fuck? This is not... We lost a follower. Anyway, Seth, something's going on with Seth. He keeps going to a black screen. Anyway, I like Scream. Anybody else? No, Jared doesn't.
I like it. I thought it was good. Yes, it's number 10.
Yeah,
Get
it's
with
number
it.
10. All right, let's move on. Seth,
Really?
I mean, yeah, would I say it's number 10? No. But yes, it was a movie.
No. It's number 10 because of me. Just saying. I'm pretty sure. Fuck this film. I love this guy, by the way. He hates Scream with a passion. It's funny. Like he came on watching our Friday the 13th shows that
Everybody's got their opinion.
Seth and I was doing. He said he's gonna boycott the show when we do the Scream stuff. So
My
Seth, you
favorite.
cool if we move on to number 9? because V is over here saying "fuck Scream." So
I missed the entire
I think
thing.
that- Seth, could you go on like a 20-minute diatribe about how great this movie is for me?
Well,
Bullshit, this is the worst
Yeah,
franchise
I mean-
ever. Have you seen Leprechaun and
True.
Sleepaway Camp? And,
Right.
I mean,
Jeez.
Go ahead, Seth.
Right.
Don't-
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
hey now.
Hey.
Yeah, Scream 5, which is you made a mistake there on the graphic. It's
I
a
know,
5. I refuse to call it Scream. It's a
Definitely
sequel.
better.
Awful
Oh my
of them.
god! Someone get a doctor over there.
What?
Anyway, it's everybody's got their tastes.
I know. I'm just fucking up.
Okay? Seth, tell us why you like
I
Scream
could give
5.
a fuck.
Yeah, I know. V's actually a good guy. I like this guy. Go ahead, Seth.
Okay, it was better than I expected from a Scream movie not directed by Wes Craven.
Yeah.
I
I like the touch.
didn't love everything about it.
Yeah.
I thought the wrong legacy character got killed off, personally. But
Can we get rid of Courtney Cox for God's sakes?
exactly, I mean,
No, she's going to be
Christ,
the
Gail
Iron Man
Weathers
this
is
series
cool.
now.
Yeah, Gail. I've been tired of Gail for a while now. I was like, how do you kill off fucking David Arquette?
yeah.
Spoiler. Did you see that? Did you see that meme going around? I think I shared it where it was Anne Hathaway introducing the killers on Saturday Night Live and said every last 10 minutes of a Scream movie, ladies and gentlemen, the killers.
No.
Yeah.
Except for part 3. I like somebody bitched at this movie. The new one. That's what it was. The new one. They're talking about. Well, it should be in Woodsboro. These movies are based in Woodsboro. I'm like, the only ones that were in Woodsboro was like the first and the fourth, right?
Yeah, because the second one was at a college. The
Yeah.
Third
And
one
the
was
third
in
one's in
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Let's go into
People
movie.
don't know their movies. They bitch
No.
and they're totally
I'm
off
kind
the
of
fucking map.
I'm interested to see how this next one works out. Being in New York and overpopulated city like that. We'll talk about that when we
Yeah,
get
we'll
to
get to
it.
that later.
So number 9 is one that I just think that is another one of those movies. Now I'm not saying it's like Jaws, but it's like Jaws in that it's just a great movie overall. It doesn't have to be a horror movie. It is a horror movie, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those that's more than just a horror movie. Anybody could watch this movie. It's a good movie. Great performances all around. I really like the performance of, and you guys already said it, Ralph Fiennes was so good. Part 7 in space. Scream 7 in space. Yes, let's do this. Anyway, this movie was a good time.
It's one of Ray Fiennes' best performances, in my opinion. I mean, and that's saying a lot because that guy is phenomenal.
Yes.
But he is so fucking good in this, and I just love how his character is revealed to us little by little by little, and
Mhm.
I took my daughter to see this, and I really wanted a fucking cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Really. But I love this film, and I think you're right. I think it's a movie that even non-horror fans can stomach and watch and be entertained and love it.
I like the end because it kind of. I'm a big fan of Samara Weaving, and at the end of Ready or Not, she's all covered in sweat or whatever, and she just lights
Smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, and this gives me that kind of same feeling at the end because Ready or Not was a really fun movie, and this was a fun movie, and she's sitting there watching, what happens at the end, just eating a cheeseburger. I love that about that movie. It was good.
Very
Wait,
similar.
Seth didn't see this one, did you? Okay, he's not there. Okay, we're fine. Anyway, I thought the menu was a lot of fun. I'm glad it hit HBO Max before I got the chance to make my my list.
Yes, I'm glad I got to see this movie too before we got everything together.
Yeah, this is another one. I think I was going to be the only one that saw it, and then it got hit cable right into the right moment.
Right at the right time, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to see it because it's good. It's Fiennes was probably. I know I tried to get us to do Best actor in a movie, in a horror movie this year. He would have been my pick, I think. I know
Yeah,
he was
mine.
your pick, Nate, easily. You know, he was really great in this one. We'll try that for next year. But yeah, really good movie, really fun movie. I like S'mores though. I don't like his
I actually had Five Guys right after that movie was over.
yeah, I should have gone there too. Damn. That sounds delicious. That burger, man. Whew. But the thing I liked about that whole scene is the joy in his face while he was making the,
Yeah.
such a good performance from him. And Anna Taylor-Joy, that's her name, right?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya
was
Taylor-Joy,
fantastic. And I like
Yeah.
that she. I won't give anything away. It's not giving
Yeah.
anything away because there's so much we could give away. Like
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorites, and I won't give it away, is the reason John Leguizamo's character is there. Cracked me up so much.
I like John Leguizamo, actually.
I love John. I love
Yeah.
him to death, and I love that his character is like this movie star. And I don't want to give it away, but the reason he's there at the restaurant is great.
All I want to say really about Anya Taylor-Joy is I love her. And the more I see of her, the more I want to see more of her. And she was in The Witch, right? That was her?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
she's
Northman.
Last Night in Soho.
It's
Yeah.
like so Northman, Emma,
She's been in a lot of stuff the last 3 years.
oh the fucking Queen's Gambit was
She is
Chef's
who I
kiss.
pick. She is who I pick if Margot Robbie doesn't come back as Harley Quinn. Her or Samara Weaving. Anyway. All right, Nate. Have fun. Number 8, Halloween.
Oh, is he gonna cuss me out too? A lot of people are cussing right now. What?
Halloween Ends is not a bad movie. It's just not
No.
what we wanted.
It's not what people wanted. And,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people who think it's shit, and
Oh, yeah.
fair enough.
Oh yeah, it's
And
got
I did-
62% on audience score.
You know, and I said it. I didn't love it the first time I watched it because, like everyone else, I was expecting something completely different for a fine finale. And the more and more I watched it, the more
No,
and more I liked it. And I don't think it's a piece of shit. I think it's really good. It's totally Christine. It's
Christine minus the
here's the
car.
thing. This movie is a complete, total tribute to John Carpenter, and it's got The Fog in it. It's got Christine
In every
it,
way, yeah.
Halloween. He wanted to make this an homage to John Carpenter. This film, and
Where's my Prince of Darkness?
he was smart enough to leave. Maybe if he put that in there, it would've
Don't you
been
dare
good.
say he was smart enough to leave that out. I love that movie.
I know, yeah, and I've tried to get committed. For
Halloween
it.
Ends, like the one thing I'll say about Halloween Ends is I feel like if there was another movie after it with, I feel like because they were building that character up so much.
Yeah, like
And then
Steph
they
said, if the first movie had started with the opening of this movie and we got to know Corey through the whole trilogy, but to throw a brand new character, a lead character, the lead character in this film, into the final act is just a very odd choice, and he
Yeah.
knew that. But what, I think David Gordon Green. He's one of the first filmmakers in a long time that really loves this franchise. And he's someone who's like, I'm going to make my movie. And if you watch the making of this movie, he was really excited about this movie, and the whole cast were, and they were all on board. They loved it. They loved the script. They loved the thing. And they really thought that people were going to dig it. And the thing is, a lot of people did. A lot of people don't. And we hear a lot of the loud of, we don't like it, because that's what happens. But people hated kills. And then this movie came out, and people started saying they liked kills. And I just think it's a movie that it's going to grow. I don't know if it'll have the same Halloween 3 effect where, 20 years from now, people are like, hey, fucking Ends was fucking great.
It could.
But it could, because I think. What's that?
David Gordon Green equals Ryan Johnson. Just joking.
David Gordon Green is also in Bones and All, playing one of the,
Oh, that's
the
right.
cannibal. And mention that. Anyway, yeah, we did a whole episode on this movie, so
Yes, brother. Good. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
how we ruin it? I got them down in the basement; they're fine.
Yeah.
The
The
Exorcist,
Exorcist is
fine.
okay. I mean,
I
that's
got
the
it,
thing. We had this conversation before, Nate, way back when 2018 was coming out. Everybody was talking about they erased the timeline. It's like, what are you talking about? We still have those movies.
Yeah,
You
I can
know,
still watch any movie I want to watch. They're
yeah,
all there in my collection.
that's the best thing about the Halloween series is it's and we keep saying it's a choose your own adventure. You can watch the Loomis movies, you can watch the sister movies with H2O and Resurrection, you can watch the Rob Zombie movies, you can watch whatever. It's whatever you want.
Choose your own adventure
Yeah, it's you don't have to.
or misadventure.
It's just one of people wanted to see Michael versus Laurie again, and I'm like, God damn it, we've seen that 6
I
times
wanna see
already.
Michael
Like,
versus
I don't
Loomis
want to
again.
see that again. I want something different, and to have Christine love story, different. And the thing is, I don't think that the evil was transferred. I think it's all consistent. Where David Gordon Green is making the shape an elemental force that has consumed the entire town. Because Corey is not the shape now. Corey is making conscious choices. His killing spree is a vengeance killing spree. It's not
Well, I
like
mean,
the shape.
yeah, they set it up for right in the movie.
Yeah.
I wish it would have played out over the course of the 3 movies, but like his mom, she I didn't say mama. His mom is.
Mommy.
His mama is shitty to him. Like everybody in town, those band geeks, they weren't geeks. They were pretty cool actually. They were shitty to him. Like
Yeah. They
he
push him.
accidentally killed that kid. So
Yeah.
the town hates him. He's the pariah of the town. So of course, at some point, something's going to snap, and it did. And I think Allison had a little bit to do with that as well, with him snapping.
Yeah, because Laurie says in the beginning that we all choose to deal with evil in a certain way, and we all have a choice to do what we want to do.
Yeah,
And she had chosen to fear it for so long, and look what it cost her. It cost her daughter, it cost her all this stuff. So she, in this movie, has chosen to move on, to not let fear and evil corrupt her. Allison is still lost, is stuck. She's a lost soul because her family's dead, her boyfriend's dead, everyone she cared about other than her grandmother's dead, and she's still too young to kind of make that work. So she finds a soulmate in this kid, Corey, and he actually runs to the evil and the evilness and embraces it because it gives him power that he doesn't have. For 3 years he's been treated like shit, and now he has a taste of power, and he likes it, and he wants to get revenge, and that's what he does. He doesn't become Michael Myers or the
what do
shape.
they say? Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what happens. It's all about choices, and I think that's what makes this movie good, is that there's a conversation to be had about what's happening, where a lot of the Halloween sequels, there's no fucking conversation to have. It's just Michael's back and he's killing people.
When was the last time you ranked the Halloween movies?
I don't remember. I don't put this up the top. I put this in the middle. But I don't. People start saying it's worse than Resurrection. It's worse.
I did when I walked out of the
that, and I'm like, there's no way it's that bad.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
A lot of knee jerk reactions, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just like The Last Jedi. I admit it's not what we expected, and
Totally
that's why
not.
I say it's like The Last Jedi. But let's move on.
Yep.
Because we could end up talking about Halloween.
We did a whole show on this.
Yeah. Number 7 is the Jordan Peele film. Nope. Jesus. I can see why people want me to be replaced as the host.
Get your guff out of your mouth.
Yeah. I'd rather see Jordan Peele make a full-length feature movie about Megan in her jacket.
No.
So
Come on, Megan.
I really like
I don't wanna.
Jordan Peele as a filmmaker. I loved Get
I
Out.
don't wanna.
And Us. I really loved Us quite a bit. This one I saw it on opening day in the theater, and I liked it. I gotta admit to you guys that every time I've watched this, I've fallen asleep. It's kind of slow.
It's
But,
the slowest moving one.
Yeah, Nate, you're the one who seems to like this one the most.
I know
Yeah.
we're all mixed on this one. Yeah.
He's one of those filmmakers that there's certain filmmakers like Tarantino, people like that, where the filmmaker is the event, and I think he's one of those guys. If I had to compare him to somebody, I'd say he's kind of this generation's M. Night Shyamalan in some ways.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
But I think he's stronger. But I think, but he's one of those guys, and this is almost following the trajectory of like, Signs was the first movie where people started going, I don't know about this guy. Is he really good or is this sucks? And it was an alien invasion movie, just like Signs, and
wow.
and I
That's
think
a good point.
I think he's fallen into that where he's become this. Anytime a filmmaker becomes a rock star, in many ways, a name, or becomes the draw to the theater, people start to reject you and start to hate you, and start to expect and start to wait for you to fall, or make a mistake, or not make such a good movie. And the thing is, if you make one bad movie, they go, "See, I told you, the guy's a hack." And I think this is a movie for some people. And I just love that the movie's title, from what I understood, came from every time someone would mention Jordan Peele, is Jordan Peele the new John Carpenter, is Jordan Peele, blah, blah, blah. People would say, nope. People just see that in comment sections. Nope. Hey, anybody want to see Jordan Peele's new movie? Nope. All this stuff. So he kind of named it to say fuck you to the audience. And the movie is kind of attacking the audience in some ways, because it's all about our need for spectacle and things. And the movie's saying a whole lot, which all his movies have some kind of theme and symbolism going on. It has a lot to do with the industry and Hollywood and spitting people out, and it's definitely a slow burn. I really like Daniel a lot. The Daniel Kaluuya, I just love him. He's a good actor. I think he is underrated in this movie, even though he doesn't have a lot to say. That's actually a harder thing to pull off. I think I really like his character because he's kind of a shy. He's a guy who's been thrown into an extraordinary situation with his father dying, and he has to keep his business. Too. Yeah, he has to keep this business going, but he doesn't know how to run that business. He doesn't know how to be the charismatic salesman, businessman that maybe his dad was, or what his sister is. But she doesn't want to work. She's the lazy one. He's the worker. He's the worker bee. And now he's being forced into the situation where they're going to lose their family farm, where you have pride going on, you have all this stuff. They're going to sell the farm. Should we not sell the farm? I just think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this movie that I don't see in a lot of normal regular films. I think he's a filmmaker who does more with the time that he has on screen than a lot of people do in this genre. And I think that's why I'm excited by Jordan Peele, because I think he's I don't want to say elevating the fucking genre and elevated horror, but there's more to it than just, hey, let's have a guy in a mask stabbing people. Let's have a werewolf attacking people. There's just he comes to things from a different perspective, like The Cursed. Okay, like The Cursed is not your typical fucking werewolf movie. It took it from another. The whole thing with the silver teeth and all that was such, wow, this is cool. That's what I think when I go into a Jordan Peele movie. I think I'm going to see something I had no idea what this movie was going to be. I had no idea what it was going to be, and I love that. I love mystery. I love where he's going to take me, and I think a lot of the rejection is Jordan Peele fatigue with a lot of people.
I think that's bullshit. I mean, honestly, Jordan, he's only made 3 movies.
But people been hearing for the last since Get Out is how amazing he is.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
How great he is and how perfect he is. Get Out's the greatest film ever. Get Out's the greatest screenplay ever. And I think people hear that and they just want to say, "Fuck that guy." And I don't know. I'm not saying people who don't like it feel that way, but I think there is that kind of thing where if someone's getting so big and so talked about, people start to get a little like waiting for the fall. And I think that's kind of what happened with Nope. In some ways, I don't think it's as bad. No. I think if it was a movie if Jordan Peele hadn't made it, it'd been some no-name filmmaker with no fanfare and no hype, people would have responded differently.
That's totally possible. Yeah, I could get behind that.
People want to hate him right now. So
Well, I mean, that's the cool thing to do is hate stuff. You know, oh, I hated this, I hated that movie. There's a lot of people like. There's somebody I wanted to mention when we were doing our all the user scores or audience scores. By the way, this got a 61%, just probably exactly for what Nate was saying. But there's one person I noticed every time, or almost every one of these movies that were kind of big hits gave it a 1. His name's Marco Carlson, who's been following the page from nearly day one, but he put a 1 for damn near everything that was a big name movie. And I'm like, I feel like you're just being a dick at this point. So like,
yeah, I mean, it's not a fair assessment. You know, even movies that I didn't, you had votes for everybody, and there were movies that I didn't like that I didn't give anything under a 4 or under a 5 or a 6. I didn't give anything under that because none of them are that bad. Like I don't. I didn't see anything under 6.5 for you. I think. Yeah, nothing because nothing is that bad. Nothing deserves a 1 or a 2, especially something as good as fucking Nope. I mean, it doesn't deserve a 1.
It doesn't deserve a 1.
No.
Now I will say I do think this might be my least favorite Jordan Peele movie.
I would say that myself, yeah, because I love Get Out and Us.
Yeah.
I will stand on that hill. Yeah.
By the way, we skipped over 13 somehow. For anybody keeping it at home, it was Smile.
Fuck.
I don't know how I missed that, but yeah, there's Smiles number 13. Very, very much a callback to. It reminded me of Mandrake and something from the early 2000s.
It reminded me of J-horror movies.
Kind of, yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Had a very It Follows vibe also.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Let's go back to number 6 because this is
good movie. That's why it's on the list.
What?
I said good movie. That's why it's on the list.
Yeah, it got a 59% from our audience. This one actually did really well with our audience. Number 6 is The Black Phone, which got an 82% audience score with us. I really enjoyed this movie. I think I think I feed off the energy of who I see movies with sometimes, because I saw this with my son Reynolds and he just loved it. And being able to, watch a movie with my son and kind of like enjoy the moment together, and the mystery of the movie, I think that kind of amplified how I felt about this. But then I watched it with my daughter and I liked it even more. So I don't know. I like The Black Phone. I like Ethan Hawke quite a bit, and Scott Derrickson's a good director.
No, that's some of the the experience that we want when we go to the theater, right?
Yeah,
the fact that you get to see it with your kids, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Seth, you like this one. Jared, I think you like this one as well.
I read the short story, Joe Hill's short story first before I watched it. I was actually very impressed. There was, like every adaptation, there are some things I didn't like, but Ethan Hawke's performance was phenomenal. He was. You can watch that movie and not realize that's him.
You barely get to see his face.
Exactly.
Also, which is kind of interesting.
My MVP on this movie is the little sister.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Which her little sister's in Megan, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
This Black Phone, when I first watched it, I wasn't a huge fan, and I watched it again and liked it a whole lot more. I really got wrapped, because I think what threw me off was when he started getting the phone calls from the dead kids. I'm like, what is this, Stir of Echoes or something, or Sixth Sense? And it kind of threw me off. But then when I watched it the second time, I started getting wrapped up emotionally into that, of these kids helping him, and the kid teaching them how to use the phone and to use, step back and go and all this. Yeah, it's one of the good popular mainstream horror films of the year. Great looking movie too.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. They really nailed that late 70s, early 80s vibe. And I thought there were a lot of good performances. Yeah, the little girl whose name I don't remember was really good. The dad who was in Saving Private Ryan,
Jeremy Davies.
He was you could see a lot of pain behind his eyes from losing his wife, for being crazy, hearing the voices or whatever. And now his daughter's dealing with it, and he's dealing with it the wrong way by alcoholism and then beating his kids. I was like, God, this is kind of brutal, you know? And then Finney getting bullied by some of the kids. I just liked it. I liked a lot of the characters. I thought it was a good movie. I love the mask and how it's two pieces and it can change by mood. You know,
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. And I don't know, I liked it. I really like Scott Derrickson. I also like James Ransom, I think is his name. He was in It Chapter 2, and he was also in Sinister, which is a great movie in my opinion.
This movie really fed into, I remember, because it's set, 78? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
78. So I was like 2. And I remember at that time in the late 70s, early 80s, there was all this rumor about, of course, it was like Satanic Panic time.
Well, not to mention all the serial killers that were
all the
Hillside
serial
Strangler,
killers. Yeah, serial killers were all in the news. Satanic Panic was out there. They're coming for your kids. They're going to kidnap your kids. The van, whatever. And I remember those rumors about guys in vans or ice cream trucks and shit like that coming to kidnap kids. And
yeah,
it really captured that black van and him with the balloons and dressed like a magician or whatever. I mean, it was very striking imagery. I love Ethan Hawke. He's one of my favorite actors. He's actually in town making a movie, and
oh wow,
he's directing one. If I was feeling better, I'd go out and be an extra in it because they were calling for extras. But I've loved him ever since I saw Before Sunrise, and he's not in it. He really isn't present that much in the movie.
But you feel his presence, though.
But to take an actor who's that beloved and that known to step into a role like that and be sinister and frightening is a challenge for someone as well known and liked as he is.
He was great in The Glass Onion. He's only in it for like 2 seconds.
He's
Anyway.
only
Seth, you got anything you want to say about The Black Phone? Because I think this was another one that you went in blind, didn't you?
I didn't go in blind to this one. I just went in not thinking it looked all that great, and I just had a fun time with it. And mostly because of the characters. I've been saying for a while, I know I've told this before, but like the little girl in this was hilarious. She was like, it's like as if like the girl from Psycho Gorman had a soul.
yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it. I enjoyed it.
Did Psycho Gorman make our list last year?
I don't remember. Should have.
I don't think it did, but I love that movie.
The only movie I remember really loving from last year was Willy's Wonderland. So, the movie was awesome. Anyway, Black Phone is, I think it's on Peacock now. It is streaming somewhere. I know that if anybody hasn't seen it. I have a copy because I'm cool like that. So that was number 6. Moving on to number 5 is Hulu's Prey, which has a 79%. It's either that or the movie called Pear, because I can't read my handwriting, but I'm pretty sure it's Prey. 79% audience score rating. I did love this movie. I thought this movie was fantastic. Shot beautifully. I loved whatever her name is. What is it, Seth?
Amber Midthunder.
Midthunder. I wanted to call her Thunderbreaker for some reason. Anyway, and I really liked the design of the Predator in this one. It was really cool. Anyway, you guys know my hang-ups. I want you guys to take it away.
I think this was like my number 2 or 3, wasn't it?
Let's find out.
I think it was one of my 2 or 3 too.
Jared, you had it at number 2. Nathan,
Yes.
you had it at number 2. Seth had it at number 5. I had it at number nothing.
Those are his hang-ups, everybody.
Yeah.
I love Predator is one of my top 10 favorite films, and
Period.
yeah, in my
Oh,
top
wow.
10 films,
Such an awesome movie.
I remember when I saw that movie. I was 12, maybe. It came out on VHS, and I just fucking love that movie. Every time I watch it, I am just consumed in that world. And
Oh, yeah.
I love that film. And John McTiernan made, in my opinion, two of the greatest fucking action films. Both of them are in my top 10. Die Hard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Predator.
Oh yeah.
What's
And,
Die Hard?
Seth. So
The greatest movie ever
Anyway.
made.
I
Yeah.
know a lot of people have an affinity for part 2, which I do like Predator 2, but I think this is the best Predator sequel. I took it back to the basics of what made the first movie work. Man against beast, primitive, when it got down to the end where Arnold had to rely on nature and his, instincts. And that's what I love about this character is in this movie, they spend so much time showing how she prepares to defeat him. Like there's a lot of setup and payoff of her experience. Because a lot of people are like, how can this little girl beat the Predator? It's like, it doesn't matter if she's a little girl because Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't really match the Predator.
Well, no,
mano a
I mean,
mano.
9 guys couldn't match the
No.
Predator.
But yeah, like it's not that. It's about you're outsmarting it, and that's what she does. She knows she's in her land, that she's hunted, and she's fought animals. She's studied animal behavior. She's learned
Yes,
from
right,
mistakes.
yes.
She makes failures. Like she makes mistakes through the whole movie, and then she learns from them. Just like anyone who read the old Spider-Man comic books, Peter would always fucking lose the first time he fought a new villain, and then he would figure out how to beat them. And that's what she does. She uses all these things she's learned and watched, and she gets to observe the Predator fighting all those guys. That scene where the Predator's killing all the fur traders and all that. She's watching what it's doing, and she learns how it moves. So she even uses its own like fighting techniques and weaponry against itself, makes it cut its own arm off because she knows what it's going to do. She's like telegraphing what he's going to do, and it's just, I think it's this really solid fucking movie. I agree. I wish this fucking movie played in the theaters because if a movie deserved to be on this big screen this year, it was this one.
I agree. I think it would have been great to see it in the theater on the big screen. I'm like this and Hellraiser both are 2 movies I wish I could have seen in the theater for sure. That didn't get to be theatrically released, which is starting to wear thin on me, by the way. This is something I wanted to bring up real fast. V says, just wondering how they're going to address the pistol situation because that pistol was gifted to Glover at the end of 2, but she has it at the end of Prey.
Yep.
So I didn't realize that was the same pistol.
I think I'd read some theory which made sense that, at the end you see all the other ships coming.
Yep.
Like they're coming down.
They're coming back for another one.
It's like they make a peace treaty with the Predators and she gives them that gun in some way. I mean, I think maybe that's what
Either that or they just take it back.
Yeah.
I don't want to see her die, but
I want
Right.
to see her in other movies.
yeah, I would love to see a sequel with her in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought up a good point. I was wondering how that would play. Like Nate said, it could be like a peace offering because they actually came together as formidable, adversaries.
And the Predators were always honorable that way, which is what we see
Yeah.
in part 2. They're not
Right.
they're not going to retaliate. They're coming against body or whatever. So a peace offering is part of Native culture. I mean, it's probably what's going to happen. We don't need to see it.
I
That is
will
a good
say
question.
this movie was really great. I'm sorry I couldn't put it in my top 25. But there's, anyway, but I also want to address the fact that I think Predator 2 is the best sequel. Just saying. Underrated.
I think we all love Predator 2.
Underrated. I love it.
Predator 2 is a great movie. I like smaller films, I guess, and I like contained, and I always love that third act of Predator where it's just him and nature against the thing, and that's what this felt like to me.
Yeah, I mean, Predator. I gotta say, Predator. When I saw it when I was 7, man, and it had such an effect on me that I went to the store with my dad and bought fucking paint, watercolor paint to put on my face, and between that and Commando, which is the greatest action movie of all time.
Well, I love.
I'm just
Commando.
joking. I love Commando. It's my favorite.
That's the weird-
Anyway, Commando's awesome.
I love Commando though.
Yeah. Anyway, Prey was great. I'd love to have my own copy of it, but of course it's a Hulu movie. So, Seth, anything you want to add to Prey before we move on?
Oh, it's a dumpster fire. No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was a fun time. It was better than I expected. I was kind of a little concerned about it at first.
Seeing
but
something like that,
I like.
I just think that it was going to streaming. I'm like, well, this can't be that great if it's going straight to streaming, right? That's kind of how I went in.
And they were just trying to keep it
Yeah.
out of HBO's hands, from what I understand. Wasn't that what it was? Like, because HBO had a deal with that studio before Disney bought it.
Oh, really?
That if I think that's what it was like Disney bought, what studio was it? Warner Brothers? Is that who put it out?
Fox, 20th Century
Fox.
Fox.
Yeah, so like Disney bought Fox, and Fox had already made a deal with HBO that any movie that goes into the theaters has to go to HBO after a run in the theaters. And so Disney didn't want HBO taking their movie from them. So, Disney owns Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, well, we're going to put it on Hulu to keep it out of HBO's
Wait.
hands and test streaming, see how much viewers it gets on Hulu to test the waters.
I wonder how it did. Okay, so Disney owns Hulu. The new Pinhead is a female.
Damn, Kathleen Kennedy made by Hellraiser.
I'm just trying to think. The
You can
force
blame it on her.
That's not. He's not wrong. Bill Paxton's great in Predator 2. I had a torch. That's great, man. I love Predator. That's such a fun movie. Okay, let's move on to number 4. Seth's number 1. Hellraiser, another Hulu movie. I would have loved to see this one on the big screen because it was really nice to look at.
Gorgeous movie.
Yeah.
It was very dark at points. Did you guys not
Yeah, it was.
feel that too? Like
They're
if
not
you weren't
lighting. Go ahead.
like if you weren't watching it in the dark with all the lights off, like it felt
That's
very
how I
dark.
watched it. Yeah. Actually, I had to lighten this image, by the way.
These
So
days, like the cinematography and the lighting is not like it was. Like there's even a joke in Scream 5 where I think it's Scream 5 where they say everything was overlit in the 90s. They're talking about 90s. I think that's what it was. I think it was in the new one. It was part 4. Yeah, and
they
it's
couldn't have been talking
true.
about Silver Bullet because that's one of the greatest.
Well, it is like if you go watch 90s movies, like I was just watching Can't Hardly Wait the other day, showing my daughter
love that
that,
movie.
and that movie is so like it's like 3-point lighting. It's really lit. It's like all
Well,
this
I got to have sex tonight.
and if you watch movies now, you don't get those hard lights. You don't get a lot of there's a lot of naturalism, almost like everything is made to look like it's natural light. I don't know if it's because like Revenant and stuff like that made that popular, but a lot of movies now are not overly lit that way with harsh, top light and everything.
Times change with filmmaking as
Yeah.
well, and styles change, and this is just, I think, a tell of this generation of filmmakers coming up.
Well, they're also hiding this makeup because their whole bodies are covered in this stuff, and you don't want to show that in bright
At first, yeah,
light.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their
I get
makeup is insanely good, though. I thought.
Oh,
I
they're
thought-
amazing. People
Yeah.
shit on them, and I was like, "Are you fucking nuts?" Like
Yeah.
the Cenobites look amazing in this movie.
Best Cenobites. Easily best Cenobites.
Easy, Jared. Come on, easy.
What? Come on.
Butterball. Come on, Butterball's the best.
Oh, come on. I love
CD.
Inferno, okay? I'm willing to die on this hill.
I think they look better than they have. I think.
I mean, well, we're talking about Hellraiser 3 Cenobites are the best. I'm telling you. Anyway, Seth, come on, man. What do you got? I know you said a lot already, but I know this is your favorite of the year. You're such a Hellraiser. You're a werewolf and Hellraiser horror with a little bit of Phantasm mixed in.
Definitely Phantasm, yeah.
And the John Carpenter.
Oh my God, I totally forgot. How could I forget
Can't
John
forget
Carpenter?
Can't forget that.
I'm gonna make an image of Seth just kind of like on Luke or Yoda on Luke's back. I'm gonna put Seth on John Carpenter's back.
But it should be John on his back, right? Because he's the mentor.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Run, 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 jump. I could be a backpack while you run. Sorry.
This dog was my child.
Is there anything you want to say, Jeff?
Yeah, I was really excited for this movie. I was glad that the marketing campaign was kind of limited. It was nice not knowing a whole lot about it going into it. Like I said earlier, it's a well-made movie. David Bruckner, I think, is a good director, and I think he was the right choice to take on Hellraiser. And I've seen this 4 times now, and I still enjoy it just as much every time. They do something different with the Cenobites and with the lore behind the Lament configuration, and I kind of dig it. Like I prefer the older way, but I kind of really like the idea of it being like this puzzle, and that there's sacrifices, stuff like that.
It helps
the
give
effects
that
are
movie
really
some
good.
identity too.
There's different ends to the means.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing. Yeah.
I absolutely love
I like
the lead actress. Is just I love.
I liked her
everything
too.
about her.
Oh. I cannot get behind that, boys. I'm sorry. I
That's
thought
okay.
she was so fucking annoying. She was crying like 2/3 of the movie. I mean, she was a really good actress. Don't get me wrong. I don't know what else she's been in.
Yeah, no. When Nate brought it up the other day, she's related to somebody somewhere. I can't remember what it was though.
She was the only part that dropped. Well, I mean, god damn it.
She's the daughter of what's her name? Pamela Adlon, who was on Lucky Louie and Grease 2.
Oh shit! I remember you. I remember that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember now. I haven't seen Grease 2.
Yeah.
What?
I was like, this girl, don't you? It's Pamela Adlon's daughter. You're like, yeah, I never
I'm
saw
like,
Grease 2. I'm like, oh, okay.
The thing with the main character in this, though, Riley, she's very, very, very flawed. She's not quite as bad as Julia, but she has almost a similar situation with Julia, where she makes a lot of mistakes. She gets kind of roped into this whole thing.
Nobody will beat Julia though.
Well, no, of course not. I mean, because Julia is like one of the most underrated horror villains out there. But like,
I think there's an article about that.
I didn't have a problem with her being upset and crying. I thought it was realistic.
Did I read that one?
The story is about this woman who has a long history of substance abuse. She can't really get her shit together, and then all of a sudden she's almost kind of responsible for everything that happens. And I think her being upset about the disappearance of her brother and feeling the guilt of that.
This was all her fault. This was all her fault.
Kind of. It was the guy's fault too, though.
Well, the guy gave it. Yeah, the guy gave it to her knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Well, yeah, because Voight hired Riley's boyfriend to get the box, and Riley was supposed to be the first sacrifice, but she ended up in possession of it, and she never got. She never got
a hold of it. Right.
Right. And so then the box belonged to her. But again, this is not a franchise of likable characters. I mean, Kirsty.
That's a good point.
You could say Kirsty a little bit, because she was that link for the audience to have someone to root for.
Kirsty's awesome.
Well, but just hear me out here, though. Like, yeah,
but
the thing is, like, Kirsty was great, but the story was about Frank and Julia.
Oh yeah, they were
Yeah, I don't think
Kirsty. Kirsty was just there to be the bridge for the audience, to have someone to kind of root for, but she wasn't overly significant to the story. You could say that the franchise has had some decent-ish characters. I mean, the chick from Part 3, she's not a terrible character, but the core characters of the Hellraiser franchise are not good people. They're people who
No.
make a lot of mistakes. They're very flawed people, whether it be substance abuse, sexual addiction, or the dickhead in Inferno, who's just the biggest piece of shit the franchise has ever had as a main character. And I love that movie, by the way. Like,
talking
I
about
don't
Craig
understand
Sheffer?
this need for the audience.
That's what Quentin
Like-
Tarantino's talked about in the 1980s. Introduced this: characters have to be likable. Because if you watch movies from the 1970s, there's a lot of characters that we watched who aren't likable, who are just flawed characters. Like you said, I don't think Clive Barker gives a fuck if you think his characters are likable or nice people or decent people.
Well, even Nightbreed, Craig Sheffer's character wasn't likable.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Rawhead Rex. There's not
Yeah.
very many likable characters in that either.
Well, exactly. And if you read Clive Barker's stories, like, his characters are always flawed. They're always making the wrong choices. I mean, the main character in the Midnight Meat Train, he made his choice, and so I feel like it's a very Clive Barker feeling type of story with the characters, and I feel like it's not out of the realm of Hellraiser, and it baffles me that people are acting like this is new to the franchise when it's a franchise built on unlikable, shitty people.
Yeah.
Sorry for the rant, guys.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
No, you definitely turned me around.
I
I mean,
go ahead, Jared.
I was just gonna say I did not like the main character, but I mean the other actors were great in the movie, but for some reason Riley, she just annoyed the fuck out of me. But yeah,
Well, she's got that quality to her. She's not. Yeah, I can see how people are totally annoyed by her. I kind of liked it because I thought those choices that she makes. There's something about her personality, her looks. She's very different looking. I just like when characters make very unique choices, and I think her performance, whether it's likable or not, is at least interesting. She's not just a boring final girl character. There's layers to her. There's personality there.
That's the thing too, is like if she wasn't written to be flawed, she'd be accused of being a Mary Sue.
Yeah, true.
Pick your battles. Pick your battles, motherfuckers.
So Hellraiser's still streaming on Hulu. It has a 57% audience score with our audience, which is criminally low. So yeah, I loved it. It was my number 3 or 4. I can't remember. Anyway, let's move on to.
And I think all these big sequels. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you got
cool.
Hellraiser, Halloween Ends, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I liked all 3 of those. Scream 5. I liked all of them,
So
but
did
they're the movies that are going to come under the most fire because of the movies that hit the most attention and the most feverish fan base.
Well, and same thing with Nope. It's not a franchise
Again,
film.
yeah, but it's Jordan Peele is
Yeah.
a franchise upon himself. He is
expectations. Yeah,
kind of like Carpenter, huh?
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's a rock star horror filmmaker.
yeah.
And
I
they're
love
always-
Jordan Peele. Period. I love his comedy work, and I like him quite a bit. But
Most people don't know who directors are. They know who Jordan Peele is. So anytime a Tarantino or whoever, they're going to have haters just for being spotlight directors.
and the best part is these haters
They
still give
are.
them their money. So you know, I remember I had a friend when we went to go see Kill Bill Volume 1. He just hated Tarantino all day long. And we had this group of like 6 people going to go see it. And we kept, why are you going to see this if you hate it so much? To hang out with the guys? No, I just want to see how bad it is. But the best part is watching him during the Crazy 8/8 fight, big ass smile on his face. I'm like, you liking this? He's like, no, it sucks. I'm like, why are you smiling? Because it's so bad. I'm like, get out of here.
I can't wait to tell all of my followers how wrong they are.
Well, this was 2003 before all the following. So, but anyway, but believe me, at work the next week he was telling
digging the
everybody
fight
how
scenes,
good
though.
it was. Anyway, number 3 on our top 25 is Pearl, and Pearl got a 79% from our followers. I love this movie. Like I went and saw it. One of the few movies I ever get to see by myself. I saw it by myself, sat in the theater by myself, and I grinned throughout the entire time. And a lot of it had to do with the way it was filmed. And I love Ty West. I have not met a Ty West film that I haven't liked yet.
Please tell me you were not grinning at the scarecrow scene.
I was actually. I was like, oh my god, did she really do that? You know, like, and that's the thing. Mia Goth. Like, what was my? Do you guys remember what I said when I came out of this movie?
I don't.
I said Mia Goth is a fucking powerhouse. She is a fucking powerhouse.
People have
Yes, she
been
is.
buzzing about her for years.
God, I've
when
only seen her. I can't remember what I saw her
Cure
in before X.
The Cure for Wellness and Suspiria.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, the Cure for
and
Wellness.
There were a few movies where like I kept hearing about Mia Goth. I'm like, who is this girl?
There's something else
And then
though.
I didn't love The Cure for Wellness, but I really liked Suspiria, and so X was great, but Pearl blew me away. I think I just
That
it's like-
monologue.
that monologue scene is one of the best in horror this year. That again,
Mhm.
another movie where the finals credits is something you got to sit there and watch.
Yep.
And
I can't believe, and that wasn't a freeze frame either. You
no,
know, that was her.
That is a very
fucking smile.
painful, difficult thing to
Yeah.
do.
That was
And-
all one take.
Yep.
And the fact that she co-wrote it, you know, her and Ty worked on it while they were working on it, developing it. I love the Technicolor.
Yeah.
I said this is like if Dorothy never left Kansas
hmm Oh yeah.
and
does.
became Norman Bates or Lizzie Borden. Like it was it has
Yeah.
elements of Psycho to me and Wizard of Oz and Technicolor, the musicals and slasher film. It's just as good as X was. I just thought X was great. This felt like no other fucking slasher movie I'd ever seen. I'd never seen a Technicolor old Hollywood slasher film, and that's what it
Oh,
was.
I like how you described that. It
Ty
definitely
West
had
filmed it like it was
some
filmed way back
Wizard
then.
of Oz.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that too. But that's what it's kind of because it took place in 1918 during the Spanish flu.
Yeah, and she's
And-
on a
but the
bike
movie
like
was-
those.
It was shot like it was from back in the day. I loved it.
Scarecrow. She's fucking the Scarecrow. I mean, it's
Best scene in the movie.
the Wizard of Oz.
No. Actually, one of my favorite scenes is when she's doing the audition.
Yeah.
That was a really great scene.
I'm a star. When
Yeah.
they're dragging her away.
Yeah, I love Pearl. I was glad I did. That's one of the ones I didn't watch a trailer for because unfortunately we have this guy in our chat who constantly puts trailers into the chat when we don't. I don't want to try to see some of these, like the Evil Dead one. I was like, I don't want to watch this because I want to see the Evil Dead, and then I go to see fucking Megan last night, and there it is, the Evil Dead trailer right on the screen. I'm like, fuck you, movie theater.
This is
There
this, Pearl is like you know my favorite movie is Taxi Driver. This falls into the Taxi Driver category.
I didn't know that.
It's a character study
Oh yeah,
of someone who is losing it and about to explode, and
Right.
it's a ticking time bomb, and that's what happens with
she's got tons of reasons to lose it.
Yeah.
Now. I mean, like she's basically her dad has all those problems. He's a vegetable essentially. Her mom is overbearing, and you know, her and Corey would have been a great couple. Just a fan from Halloween Ends.
I think this
Overbearing
is a
mother.
movie that Scorsese really fucking loved too this year. I think he really praised it.
It surprised me. Like I like it really surprised me. I don't know why it. Well, we'll get to the next one.
I think it's been pretty popular.
yeah.
Pearl is.
It is. It's in. Let's see. It's number 7. I wrote down the of our audience rankings. It's the 7th best.
I think I had it in my 5 or 6 spot.
We can't really go off this because you won't be alone's number 1 with 1 vote, and it's 100%. So
Yeah.
nothing against that movie. I'm just saying it's hard to go off that.
No, it's hard to go off anything. Yeah.
But the
That's
Minion
why I
and
told
all
you
that
guys
stuff,
I will watch a movie you guys won't see.
You're always going to do that. I watched. I'm going to watch a movie that you guys have never seen this week. Oh, not bad. Anyway, I love Pearl. Seth, you like Pearl as well?
I did. It was just like you. I went to go see it, and I was the only one in the theater.
Yeah.
Which was
I
a
had
So
one
that-
guy in the theater, but he slept through the whole fucking thing and snored the whole
I
time.
was literally the only guy in the theater also.
it's a shame too because it's such a good fucking movie.
Yeah, one of the things I love being in the theater alone because then I have no distractions, nobody making noise or whatever. But at the same time, when I saw Barbarian and Smile, I got crowd reactions that helped the movie, I think, a little bit, you know. And I love crowd reactions, especially Smile, which, by the way, is our 13th, even though we skipped over it. Go ahead, anybody.
Watch X first or Pearl first. It doesn't really matter.
I gotta say that Maxine is definitely one of my top movies of the year that I'm looking forward to. Also,
I hope it lives up to it.
I do too.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, now with X and Pearl, it's got hype.
Yeah.
You know, where X didn't have any hype. Really,
It's going to be the
Pearl-
Nope of 2024.
Oh shit! I hope it's in the top 5 of our list this year.
So disappointed. Let down.
Speaking of X ended up being number 2 for us, which is like 2X, 2XL for shirts. Anyway, I liked X. What?
Oh, no, that's like switched around. It's an X-Men movie.
Yeah,
Check.
X2.
X2.
2X.
This is Porn Stars Unite. I love Ty West, and I immediately love the feel of this movie going right into it. And the thing I like about this, between this and Pearl, is seeing the set in whatever year this was, 1978 or 81, whatever it was, and then seeing it when they go back into 1918 in Pearl and seeing how clean it was and everything, because it's all run down. It's just, this was a fun movie, straight up slasher movie with some boobs and stuff. By the way, that's the first time I think I've mentioned boobs, if Virginia Buchanan's out there. Boobs, yeah. Well, I was very happy to see Brittany Snow's boobs finally. It just took forever. I always loved her, and I was like, I'd like to see her boobs one day. And Ty West.
From Pitch Perfect or something?
I mentioned Jenna Ortega, like a triple threat this year with this,
Oh,
Scream, and Wednesday. I mean, she's just blown up in the world.
Jenna Ortega is, yeah.
Was that the girl? Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
she was.
shit.
He was a main player in this one too, and
I didn't realize that was the same girl.
yeah, she's in Wednesday. She was in the Babysitter sequel a couple years ago. It was a lot of fun, and she'll be in Scream 6.
She
And
was the one that was like, I want to be in the movie.
She really likes being in horror movies. She said, which is great
Nice.
'cause she's good at it. So
Nice.
yeah, I like Jenna Ortega. My daughter loves her too because she watched her in the show called Stuck in the Middle, and she was the lead in that show throughout the whole 3-season run on Disney Channel. And we watched the Babysitter sequel, and she just loves. She's like, "That's Jenna Ortega." It's like, yeah, I can't show you the other movie she's in.
No. So I know we're running kind of long. Okay. So this is a movie we all saw the preview for. You kind of got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe
Yeah,
from
I
it,
did.
right? From the trailer.
Yep.
So I saw it in the theater. I'm not going to be the first one. So first initial reactions on what actually happened versus what we were alluded to. Seth.
What?
So, what actually happened in the movie and what we alluded to think was going to happen based off the trailer? Go.
Well, I'm glad that you asked that because I did not see the trailer.
Damn it.
So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I didn't expect Pearl to be as creepy as fuck as she was and end up being, you know, what she was. Because I don't want to give it away. But like one question I have about that movie, what was she trying to accomplish with Mia Goth's Maxine? Because it seemed like she was like trying to.
Well, it's like she saw her like who she wanted to be, and
Saw
never got to
herself in
be.
her.
And for some reason, it felt like she was
Because
trying to possess
she was
her.
the star.
And someone
well,
was like
I-
her, you know.
Yeah, it just felt like I was like, is she going to try to possess her or something like that? Is that why she's laying with her and all this? You know, like it felt like I don't
I
know.
think
I
it's-
thought that was.
I think it started with the scene where she was watching through the window
Yeah.
and watching her get filmed and
While
it's
she's
like,
having sex.
right. Spoiler, but like, yeah, like when you actually go back and afterwards watch Pearl, you realize how infatuated she is with being a fucking star.
Yeah.
So that's what you get in X when she's watching her through the window and becomes infatuated with her.
We are going to do an episode on these two movies at some point. I just want to make that a full episode.
Oh
No,
shit! Well, then we better stop.
Yeah, because Pearl. There's a lot of Pearl I want to talk about, and there's a lot of this I want to talk about and get into it. And I want to give it more time for people who haven't seen it to see it, so we can actually talk about. Because there's a couple scenes in Pearl I wanted to mention. I kept biting my tongue, and I didn't want to have to throw up the spoiler warning because we'll do that whenever we get to talking about it. What?
We should do it before Maxine comes out.
We will. I don't. But there's no release date for Maxine yet, is there?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
But
'cause they went right into Pearl, so it was like boom, boom.
Yep.
It'd been cool if they were all released in the same year, calendar year. Anyway, yeah. So X is number 2. It's really, really good. I think. I feel like Pearl should have been number 2, and this should have been number 3. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just talking out of my ass.
I do prefer Pearl, but they're both solid fucking movies. Like
Yeah, it's
really,
almost like a toss-up for me, man.
they're equally good. I like Pearl because Pearl was like something I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Whereas X did have a lot of Texas Chainsaw imagery and look and vibe to it, but it was its
Had
own
a
thing.
lot of cliche stuff.
Yeah, but
That's probably why I gravitated towards it, because you know how I feel about the Texas Chainsaw
well,
Massacre.
yeah, Chainsaws. Like I think so many filmmakers have been trying to chase Chainsaw for 50 years, and I think Ty has come the closest, even more than Rob Zombie did with his Devil's Rejects and all that. I think X is the best Texas Chainsaw wannabe movie, and I think it's because Ty.
Yeah, I think I think I agree with that.
And I think because Ty West is a really good fucking filmmaker. I think he's a really solid. And from what I understand about Ty, is he is a big cinephile. He studies film. He studies classic film. I think that's why Pearl was the way it was. He's watched all those films from that era, and he knows
Well,
that
he's
knows
definitely
the
one of
techniques.
us. You know, he grew up at the same time we did, basically,
Yeah.
because I think he was born in '79.
But I think he also is someone who's a student of film from the silent era on all the way up. I think he's someone who knows the craft and his film history. I think he's a
Brother.
This is a good question from Jared's brother. Do you recommend watching X or Pearl first, or does it matter? Doesn't matter.
I think at this point it doesn't matter because
yeah.
the cat's out of the bag of what kind of that they're connected.
You could watch Pearl first now, and because Maxine's going to be the closure of the trilogy, I guess, from what I understand. So if going back now, I think if I'm going to watch them, I'm going to watch Pearl and then X. So that's what I think I'd do.
I think I could agree with that.
I think it's just ruined because, like, when you watch X, you don't know exactly what the thread is, what the story is. Well, there's a mystery. Now that's mystery. It's kind of like watching, The Empire Strikes Back before you watch No Hope or something. It's like, well, now I know that they're this. Or it's like watching the prequels before watching the original trilogy, because, like, now, like, am I afraid of Vader? Because I know he's Anakin Skywalker and he's my friend, It's like, because when I saw Darth Vader in 1977, I'm like, oh, he's scary. But if I watched him as a 10-year-old and become a teenager and hating sand
This little
and everything,
boy.
Hating sand.
I probably wouldn't be as like, oh, that guy's scary.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest mistakes was making him 10 years old or whatever he was. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. Number 1. Are you guys ready for number 1? Is everybody ready for number 1? If you want to see number 1, you have to subscribe to Horror Syndicate on YouTube. Anyway,
Thank you.
this
Good
is only
night.
for our Patreon followers. No, number 1 is Barbarian. For me, this movie was not what I expected. I didn't see a trailer for it. I took the Seth method on this one, and I went in with my son, and we had a fucking blast with this movie. We didn't know what was going on. You know, watching the movie, I thought Pennywise, Alexander Skarsgård, was going to be the killer or something like that. You know, it seemed like he was going to lure her to that basement and do stuff to her. I had no idea what was really going to happen, and then all of a sudden, at one point, it fades to black, and you see Justin Long driving down the highway being a complete douchebag.
Misdirection.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Is this the same movie? You know,
This was a
oh,
great.
and I,
This movie benefited from being just came out of nowhere because I remember going to the movie theater to see something like the week before, and I look over and there's a poster for Barbarian. I'm like, what the fuck is Barbarian? And it's saying coming out next week. I'm like, I have no idea. No one said anything. I've never seen the poster. I've never heard, and the title is so ominous. It's like, what? Barbarian? And then I think I did watch the trailer, but yeah, like that. This was the most entertaining movie in this genre I saw this year. My wife went, and my daughter was like wanting to tell everybody about it. She would like tell like her aunts the whole thing. She get on the phone like, oh, and then this happens, and then this happens. And I love this that it keeps unfolding. Like I said, when Justin Long shows up and he starts pulling out that measuring tape, I about lost it. I just that was funny. And
trying to get that square footage.
that was the funniest shit I saw all year. I love this film. I do. I think it's
and
perfect.
sometimes films lose a little bit when you see them a second time. This did not. When I watched it the second time, I was like, I love this movie. It's so much fun. Helena and both kids loved it. Like I remember, I'll never forget this. One of my favorite memories of the year is I look over at Reynolds when the credits roll. I was like, "What'd you think?" And he had this big fucking smile on his face. He's like, "That was so much fun." And I'm like, "That's exactly what it should be." You know, it was scary. It was thrilling. It had a little bit of everything. And we got to see our old friend. What's his name? What's his name? He's in the Rob Zombie movies.
Richard Brake.
Oh, the
Richard
dad.
Brake.
Yes,
Brake.
Richard Brake. Yeah, we got to see him in it too, and his small scene was really great. And kind of this movie is just so good in my opinion. It's got an audience score that makes me want to throw up 69%.
It's one of those
I added
movies.
those up today. I was like, "Fuck all you horror syndicate fans."
It's another one of those movies where it was so people were having the same reaction that you had, that I had, everybody else had, and then people went in going into it with that fucking chip on their shoulder. It can't be that good, or expecting the fucking moon, and then they go, "It's overrated."
I don't get people who are like that.
Yeah.
What? Am I like that?
I posted this week about my favorite horror movie. I put that was my favorite. People said, "Really, Barbarian?" Like that's such a ridiculous thing to say. That one of the most popular horror films of the year was my favorite. Really? Are you serious? Fuck you. Okay, I can't take that shit. I don't.
What's your favorite?
I hate
Terrifier
that.
2?
I hate that arrogance. Like if you told me what your favorite was and it was a movie I didn't like, I wouldn't go, "Really?" I'm saying, awesome, man, awesome, because that's what you like.
Yeah.
You know, don't fucking like condescend me. Really? You like The Mummy? You like
I mean, I do that to
Wolfman?
Keith, but that's because it's Keith.
Oh, there's your buddy. You fuck with your buddy.
Yeah.
But complete
Yeah.
strangers online. Come on.
Right.
I think, I think the majority of people are going to say that a movie like Terrifier 2 is their favorite of the year. And
Yeah, why?
because-
That's not on our list.
No, it's not on our list.
But I dug it. I dug it.
I thought it was better than the first one, but it has a story. The first one didn't. But the thing is, like, that's the new hotness. You know, Seth and I think we mentioned it, that Art the Clown, and I did want to mention the movie because it made a huge killing for what it was filmed on, the budget. But like, it's not that great of a movie. It's got a slasher which everybody craves, and it kind of an icon. And Seth mentioned that he's basically there now, that horror icon status. Everybody knows who Art the Clown is now, just like everybody knew who Freddy was or Jason or whatever. And
He ain't
go
that
ahead.
big.
Which
yeah,
is-
yeah.
It's pretty amazing though that Art the Clown is like
It's
at a status
phenomenal.
that he's at with the fact that they're independent movies,
Yeah,
low budget independent movies, and Art the Clown has got that status. I mean, I haven't
word of
seen
mouth.
either of the two movies, but I know about Art the Clown.
Yeah, he. I am taking nothing away from that because it is impossible to come up with a horror icon character now.
Mhm.
Because everyone thinks that no one's as good as Jason or Michael or Freddy and blah blah. No one will ever reach that. And even people won't even give Ghostface that credit sometimes. Like, you'll say
No,
Ghostface, and they're like,
Is
I'm
it because it's more than one person? you think?
maybe, but it's like, Victor Crowley, not really as big as he should be, probably.
Yeah.
Leslie Vernon,
movies are fun.
definitely not as big as he should be.
Well, Leslie Vernon got the fucking Shaft. Let's face it.
Chrome
Yeah.
Skull, didn't really. That
They
too
should have
big.
made a third Chrome Skull.
The Firefly family, Captain Spaulding, Otis, probably the biggest next to Jigsaw in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Art the Clown, probably in the third or fourth biggest of that. And like you said,
Of
for
the,
something,
of the last 5 years, yeah.
it's as I said, for a movie to
Even a
do as
bona fide
well.
screen hater gives Ghostface's credit.
Good. For a low budget movie like Terrifier to do what it's done is extraordinary, and I do think that it's a good character. I had a great design, great performance, and I don't know what to say. I've been saying that I think the movie, there's such a fan base that is so tired of Nope and Midsummer and The Witch and all those type of movies, and so tired of Annabelle and The Conjuring and all that. They want Friday the 13th again.
Yeah.
And no, there has been no Friday the 13th in 12, 13 years now.
That's why
And
the
this
Halloween
is
movies
the-
did so well too. Though.
And this is the closest thing. Yeah, this is the closest thing to splatter movies that deliver. And because they're independent, they're unrated. It's just fucking gore and balls to the wall cruelty and meanness and
Nasty.
nastiness. But also, this new one is also very fun. Slasher films in the last decade have not been totally fun. That was where, like, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I felt fucked up because it was so serious.
Yeah.
Where
Yep.
slasher films were fun. People
Well,
had
even
fun going
Friday
to
the
watch.
13th was so very serious too.
Yeah, it was too serious. So, like, the Friday the 13th movies are fun movies. And so Terrifier 2 was a fun movie. And the best thing about Terrifier 2 to me was the girl, the main actress.
Oh yeah, she was fantastic.
The character, I think that she was
By the way,
fantastic.
I have to mention that scene where she's at the costume shop and he's got the horn and he's just honking the horn at her and he's like, he's just like, don't do it. I mean, David Howard Thornton, and we've had him on the show before, one of our older show. He is amazing. He's what holds that together. But the first movie is barely a movie. If he wasn't in it in that performance, it wouldn't be what it is. And that you got to give credit to him more so, I think, than Damien Leone, the creator, because David Howard Thornton, because Art the Clown was in another movie before that.
It should be on our list. I just think, again, like I said, you get that 30 movies after you've watched almost 60, where you're like, all 30 of these could be in my top, like in my 11 through 15, but I don't know how to rate them.
I think it's definitely worthy of an honorable mention for what it's been able to do for the independent movie culture.
I had it at number 27 on my list.
It's around there for me too.
Yeah.
Like right under 25.
Yeah, so I had it at 27, and that's not to take away from it because it was a better movie than the first movie. It was kind of long for a slasher movie.
It didn't feel long. It didn't feel. It did start feeling long until the finale, where their fight just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going.
Which the finale was kind of reminded me of the end of Batman Mask of the Phantasm a little bit. The set is mostly what I mean.
But I think there's a lot of fan base who would say that's the best horror film of the year because that's the movie they've been so hungry for.
Yeah.
Versus Barbarian and Nope and X. And I mean, X probably maybe, but X isn't as gruesome as those films are. I don't think it's. I just think that fan base is finally getting the films that they've desired, and this movie delivered because he did pump up They gave us a story this time for starters.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's something that he heard from people
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I heard that so much from people's complaints.
yeah, I mean that was my biggest problem with the first movie because, like I said, I liked Art as a character, and the girl was pretty decent, Jenna Canali or something like that. But yeah, there was no story. It was just gratuitous killing. I did buy the Blu-ray, by the way, for Terrifier 2. I haven't watched it yet, but oh, by the way, if anybody who wants to buy Pearl, get it from Walmart because this is exclusive art for Walmart. I want to make sure to show everybody
Yeah,
this.
my Walmart didn't have that one. I was pissed.
I ordered it online.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really nice. So check that out. If you can try to order online, Nate.
I got mine when it first came out on Blu-ray. That's definitely not the cover I got.
Yeah. I like it. But anyway, yeah, Terrifier definitely gets an honorable mention. I think. I think X had plenty of blood though. But
Yeah, it gets violent, but it kind of saves it till the end in some
Yeah.
way.
Yes, it did. I like the.
But then again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has no blood, so
Nope, not at all. It's all suggestive. It's
Good
just
point.
like that's. I can't. I don't want to get into that. I love Texas Chainsaw too much.
yeah.
I watched somebody talking about it the other day, and I was like, God, I haven't watched that in 3 weeks. I need to watch it again. Drunk Paul Crisp, who's been with us for a while, come back up. Bought an Xbox Series X last night. Let's not encourage me.
Let's not encourage me.
So Paul, this is actually I think I like these two together because I've got the standard, I guess, X, and I think they look kind of good together.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough showing off my movie collection. Anyway, so let's go quickly through the movies again, all 25. But again, like, I just subscribe. Okay. Number 25 was Hellbender. Number 24 is Deadstream, both on Shudder. Sissy.
I love how the dead fingers up his nose.
Yeah, I was looking for pictures. I saw that one. I was like, oh, this is it.
That feels like an Evil Dead moment, you know.
Yeah,
like something
definitely.
I'm gonna definitely rewatch that with that in mind next time. Number 22, A Wounded Fawn. Actually, these first 5 or 6 are on Shudder. Number 21 is Malek, also on Shudder. Very good movie. I think one of the things is horror is moving away. It's not just one or two genres anymore. There's art pieces that are in here. Bones and All is number 20. Number 19 is Mandrake. The Cursed. We had to have a werewolf movie on here. Now we got 2. Number 17 is You Won't Be Alone. Fresh is number 16 on Hulu. The Innocents, a very disturbing film that you can check out on Shudder. The Sadness is fucking buck wild. You can find that on Shudder as well. Smile, I'm not sure if it's streaming yet, but it comes in at number 13, even though we skipped it the last time.
I think it's on Peacock or something.
I think you're right.
Peacock or HBO Max, maybe. Yeah,
I think
one of the
yeah.
two.
I think it's Peacock. 12 is Off Season. Good movie you can find on Shudder. Werewolf by Night is on Disney Plus. Scream 5. Okay, no response from Seth. Scream 5 is out there somewhere.
Fuck me,
It's number
right?
10. Yeah. The Menu is an absolute must. You can check it out on HBO Max at number 9. Halloween Ends. I think it's still on Peacock, isn't it? I haven't bought it yet, so
Possibly.
yeah. It's I'll wait till it's in the $5 bin. Oh, anyway,
I got
that was a joke. I just haven't gotten the money to buy it yet. I want to buy it. Yeah, I didn't finish my collection. Number 7 is Nope. Good movie overall. The Black.
That's
Phone
on
number
Peacock.
6. What? Nope.
Nope is on Peacock
Okay.
now. Yeah.
So, The Black Phone is one on a streaming service. I think that's on Peacock too, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Prey is on Hulu. I love this image, by the way. When I saw it, I was like, "Fuck, she looks cool."
Yeah, it's a great image.
Yeah. And then number 4 is Hellraiser, which is on Hulu as well. I'm not sure if Pearl and X are streaming yet, but Pearl's number 3, X is number 2, and you could pretty much throw both of them in the air and see which one lands first to see which one is better. I think Pearl's better, but. And our number one for 2022 is the Barbarian movie, Barbarian. What a dumb statement I just made. The
that one on HBO
Barbarian.
Max?
Barbarian. Huh?
I think it's on HBO Max right now.
Barbarian is on HBO Max. Curse. The Curse was so good. Again, I was drunk at. Well, okay, yeah. I'll try not to.
You can't find your friend?
Smile.
So you want to do the last pick? Everybody picks one that we haven't mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were supposed to do this. I forgot all about it. I could have made images for it, but one movie that we missed, right? That we want to see for sure.
Oh, I meant one that you saw that.
Oh
should be
yeah.
on
Okay.
the
That
list.
one.
That you think you really want to be. You
Dash
want something
Cam.
about.
Mine's Dash Cam. That's on
yours is
Hulu.
Dash Cam.
That's yep.
I had a lot of
That's
fun with that movie. The lead is insufferable, but she is hilarious. She's a extreme right winger. She's
Trumper.
she's a Trumper. She's just insane, and she's mean as hell to her friends, and she's a rapper. And you stick around
Yeah,
for
impromptu rapper.
right. But the thing is, she's screaming all this shit that's going on after she steals her friend's car, and it's a wild ass ride. I had had no idea what this movie was going to be, and was it Jared that suggested? I think it was Jared that suggested this one.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
possibly.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. Okay, Seth, what about you? One movie that you did not make the list that if you say Werewolf Castle, I'm canceling the show. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
I cannot recommend Werewolf Castle. Even though
I love the beginning because it reminds me of The Hobbit with the happy music running. You know?
But like watching that one right after seeing like two shitty werewolf movies in a row, I felt like I was watching something good. But like
Yeah.
I have fun with it, so I'm not gonna recommend it. I would say my recommendation would probably be Glorious.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, I that's a good one. That's on Shudder. Jared, what about you? Got one?
Glorious would be put on my list that I want to watch.
Okay.
'Cause
What about one that is on your
there's
list
so
that-
many you guys watch that I haven't gotten to yet, but
Yeah.
I had it narrowed
Hey
down
Jared,
to
check out
two.
Werewolf Castle.
It's on Prime.
There were two on my list that I thought could have kind of gotten into the top 25. One of them was Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
Oh yeah,
Very original film.
Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen was brilliant in this movie. By the way,
He was
absolutely
really good.
fucking brilliant.
I mean, it doesn't really feel like a true horror film, but just from a body horror aspect, I think it fits.
It was so odd that chair
For
that
sure.
they ate in, the breakfast
Yeah.
chair.
Oh,
and then the
that
guy
was
with
so
all the ears
fucking
on his
weird.
body. Yeah, it's
That was
it's
so
such a
fucking weird.
fucking odd movie. It's Cronenberg at his finest.
Yes, it truly is. So if you
Or
guys
Cronenberg
like
has a good-
anything Cronenberg done, check that movie out.
It's on Hulu.
My other one is on Netflix. You guys have probably already all seen it. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, there you go. That we should have mentioned that at least because I liked it.
Mhm.
It was
And you can-
it was worthy for a watch for sure.
We had a whole episode on it.
Yeah, it's. I really liked Leatherface in this one a
I did
lot.
too. I need to watch it again. Nate, this is probably gonna be very difficult for you because I know
Yeah.
there's a lot that you liked.
I
If you
kind of got.
five. I'm
I
fine with it.
kind of got three.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, one of them you saw, Salem.
Oh,
Saloon.
Salem.
Saloon.
Saloon. Yeah.
Fucking
I
great
could-
movie. I can't
didn't
give
get to
anything
that
away. Very, very unique.
Well, we both said when's it going to be a horror movie, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
bam.
it's a genre jumping film from Africa, and it's Africa and France.
Yep.
Number two, Men.
Oh yeah, A24 one.
Can you find that
Yes.
streaming?
Uh,
Because I'm always looking for men.
it's raining, man. It's
Hallelujah.
and Men is a very odd movie, but it's beautifully made. Jessie Buckley is a great actress. I always love her. The guy, I can't remember the actor's name, but he's really interesting. It's Alex Garland, who made Annihilation and
Good
Ex
movie.
Machina, wrote 28 Days Later.
God, that movie was terrifying. Ex Machina.
Yeah. But the one I guess I really wanted to mention was Piggy,
Oh yeah.
which was a really big movie that's actually very popular. I just saw it at the end before the show, and I watched the short film. You can watch the short film on YouTube. It was made a few years earlier. The short film's really excellent. My favorite part of the movie is the short film, really. But Piggy is a overweight girl. I think it's a Spanish film, maybe made in Spain. Overweight girl who works in a butcher shop with her family, and she gets bullied. Local girls calling her piggy and fat and all that shit. And she goes swimming. And she thinks she's alone, but there's a guy in the water. And I don't want to give anything away, but it's kind of a slasher film in many ways, where she kind of witnesses a murder. I can't give it. I can't give it away. It's just it's very excellent. It's one of the higher rated horror films of the year. I just came to it late. I don't know where I would place it. I think I'd already put in my list after watching it, but I would suggest that, and maybe Resurrection with Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth is another really strong
You know
one.
what's funny about that, Nate?
saw it.
I remember I watched that on Shudder, and I watched it, and I was like, "This movie screams Nathan." I was like, "Tim Roth's in it, and I know how much you love him." And as soon as I saw it, I finished it. I got on our chat, and I was like, "Attention, Nathan Thomas Milliner, this movie is for you." And I knew you'd like it. I knew it.
It's good, and it's down to like almost 30 on my list. So that just goes again. There's so many. When people talk about there's no good horror, there's nothing, like, it's just horse shit. Because every year it's just harder and harder to whittle it down.
Yeah, last year we had a pretty solid list. I think this year's list this has got to be one of the best years in horror in the past decade. It's definitely
way harder.
20 so
Way
far.
harder.
Yeah,
Way harder this year.
Like, out of those 56 movies I saw, maybe 3 of them I didn't like.
Yeah,
Out of 56, I mean, at some degree, I liked 53 of them.
honorable mention for Firestarter, the worst horror movie of the year. And I did not like that. I don't think any of us liked that movie. Am I wrong?
I was never a big fan of the original myself.
Yeah,
but,
It wasn't terrible, but I wasn't. Yeah, like Nate said, I wasn't a fan of the original, anyways.
Sorry, V.
I read
So-
the book. I read the
Yeah.
book right before.
Why do you
and
torture
so
yourself?
when
Why do you torture yourself?
the book's
Well-
good.
Okay.
the book is good. It's not one of Stephen King's best, but it was one that I read pretty fast. I read it within like a week, I think. Like
10
I was
pages. That's all you need
constantly
for
picking it
that
up
book.
and reading it.
Jeez.
And so when the movie came out, I was grateful I got COVID, so I couldn't pay to see it.
You hear that,
Because-
folks?
Well, seriously, I was planning on going to see it in the theater. I was so excited for it because I read the book and like right before, so I was in that mindset, and I knew John Carpenter was scoring it. The score is the best thing about the movie.
Yeah.
It is probably the best thing about that movie.
And then I got COVID, and I was like, well, fuck, I can't go see it for at least a week, and I really wanted to see it, so I was still in that mindset of from the book, and I was like, well, it's on Peacock, so I put it on, and I was just like, I'm glad I got COVID, and I got really sick, and I thought that was like worth the sacrifice of not paying money to see that piece of shit.
Yeah, it really is not a good movie. The weird thing is, though, like I remember watching, like I went in to the year of watching some of these trailers that we all knew about, Scream and Firestarter and a couple of the other ones, and I was like, wow, Firestarter looks good. The trailer made it look good,
Yeah.
in my
Trailer,
opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I watched it on Peacock. And the worst part is I watched both of them back to back. That was the longest day of my life, and I'll never get that back. You know, I know it's one of Nate's favorite things when people say, "I'll never get that 90 minutes back of my life."
Yeah, it's like, well, that's not how time works. You can't get any time back.
Yeah. But anyway, that's our list. There's a lot of great movies. If you don't subscribe to Shudder, again, we don't make any money off Shudder. It's an absolute must because I believe out of the 58 movies, I think 32 of them were from Shudder.
I was gonna say, good majority of them are on Shudder. $4.99 a month, kids.
Honorable mention to Hulu. Hulu had some good movies: Crimes of the Future, Prey, Fresh, Hellraiser. There's probably a few. The Cursed is on there. There's at least 5 on our list that are on Hulu as well. So Netflix had Mr. Harrigan's Phone, which wasn't very good, and it was good, but
I liked it. But yeah,
it wasn't much of a horror movie in my opinion. But you know, they had one called Choose or Die, which was kind of fun, but not very good. You know, Netflix didn't really have much as far as horror goes, but Shudder's where it's at. And then if you don't have Tubi, Tubi's 100% free, and there's a lot of good stuff on Tubi. And we're talking about from decades ago to a lot of stuff now, including the 2022 remake of Terror Train, which I've heard is awful. Which
another good found footage type movie. We're all going to the World's Fair. I want to mention that. That was pretty.
I did watch that one. That one is on HBO Max. It was kind of a coming of age story. It was weird. It ended weird to me.
Yeah.
But it was about a 14-year-old girl who does this. It's kind of, what is it, like an online
like a challenge?
Challenges, yeah. And there's just weird moments. Like there's one moment where she's singing and dancing, and having fun, and she starts screaming uncontrollably, like she's terrified. Like, what just happened?
It's like almost like The Ring. Like you have to do this challenge, and people, like, if you do the challenge, you have to watch a video or something. And if you watch it, you're supposed to, like, people have committed suicide or died or something. Yeah. And so she watches it because she seems suicidal. She's very introverted and awkward, and she films herself online, and she's part of this whole thing. And this older guy sees it and becomes concerned for her and kind of starts communicating with her, trying to make sure she's okay and nothing bad's going to happen to her. That she's in danger. And it's the game is called We're All Going to the World's Fair.
The sleeping scene got me. You know what I'm talking about? Where she was sleeping and then her head started moving and she had this. Anyway, not a bad. There's so many to pick from 2022. I hope 2023 is not as big so I can relax a little bit. But because most of these I didn't start watching until August.
Things.
So anyway, what's that?
The 80s movie? Wow.
Isn't that movie terrible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Top 25 of 2022 is in the books. We can look forward to 2023 now, and we've got a lot of great shows coming back for season 4 starting next week. I forgot. Do we have a topic yet?
We had a whole long list.
It's on my phone. We got something happening on next Wednesday. We'll figure it out.
We should do one of the never seen episodes. We haven't done that in a while.
We have not, and those are fun. On Friday, we're doing Jason Lives on the Up All Night show. So come back for that because it's the
Friday the 13th.
That's Friday the 13th movie, and it is Friday the 13th. So spend your day watching some Friday the 13th movies. And last Friday the 13th, I had sex like 4 times. It's awesome. I won't be having any this time. Except for with myself. But anyway, that's there we go. That's all we got for this episode of the Horror Syndicate Discourse. Thank you for following us for the last 3 seasons. I really appreciate everybody that does follow us, and anybody who doesn't watch the show, you're missing out because there's a lot of great information in this show from each and every one of us. And
Scream is the worst franchise. We learned that tonight.
Yeah, thanks, V. Scream is the worst franchise, right?
He's actually a closet fan.
Yeah. Anyway, are we going to get to this year?
A lot of Ghostface coming out of the closets in those movies, so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Scream. Actually, let me ask you: of the movies that are coming up in 2023,
please.
what's the one that's exciting you the most?
Indiana Jones? I don't know.
Horror.
Horror?
I mean, yeah, Indiana Jones is. I'm excited about that too.
Is Ari Aster's new one considered horror? It looks really.
I don't know that. I saw the trailer for that. It looks very odd.
Yeah.
It's like half the trailer looks like it's building to be a horror movie, and then the second half looked like it was something completely different.
I guess Maxine, if it comes out, I don't know. It's coming out.
The new
No
Evil
Halloween movie
Dead.
here.
Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise, yeah.
Evil Dead Rise looks really good.
Yeah. That's it. Scream, Evil Dead Rise. That's it. We're doing a top 3 next year.
I'm sure it won't be in my top 10 because there's going to be a bunch of movies that come along.
I'm
that
sure
you
there's
have no
like
idea
1,000.
because, like I didn't know anything about most of the movies that are in my top, other than Prey. That was the only one I knew was coming. Well, I guess Halloween Ends I knew, and I wasn't even excited for Halloween Ends. I was like, oh, whatever.
So here I got some. Evil Dead Rise, Scream 6, the Winnie the Pooh movie.
No.
There's apparently a movie called The Demeter, which I guess is a Dracula movie. A movie called Fear, that Infinity Pool movie, which the poster looks interesting to say the least. Knock at the Cabin, which is I saw the trailer for that yesterday when I saw it.
Shamalama Ding Dongs.
A movie called Cuckoo. But John Malkovich is in that one, and Sophia Boutella, and then Renfield, if you want to call that a horror movie.
Yeah, you know.
And the worst news about that is Nicolas Cage is barely in it from what somebody said, which sucks if that's true, because he'd be the only draw for me. Then maybe The Exorcist remake. I'm not sure if that's actually happening this year or if it's going to be next year or what. But I'm
kind of tired of being excited about franchise movies anymore.
yeah. Oh, okay, Megan. There's a movie called Skinamarink, which is coming.
Skinamarink, dinky dink.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the children. Infinity Pool, Knock at the Cabin, Scream 6, The Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe, Renfield, Evil Dead Rise, Beau is Afraid. So this website, Men's Health, has Beau is Afraid as a horror movie.
Beau is Afraid is the one I'm most excited for.
Yeah, Insidious Chapter 5, Cuckoo, The Exorcist, Saw 10. Forgot about that. A movie
What?
called
Saw 10,
yeah. There's
Jesus.
another Saw coming. Run Rabbit Run. Australian horror film about a fertility doctor whose 7-year-old daughter begins to act increasingly strange after the arrival of a mysterious rabbit. The Strangers. Is that a remake? Yeah, it's a remake of the fucking 2008
Yeah, I
movie.
heard they were remaking that. Yeah.
Why is that necessary?
The Deliverance. Coming to Netflix. Salem's Lot, which I bet that's not coming out. Fun and Games. The Parenting. Night Bitch. What? We can just put bitch in titles now?
Yeah.
That's starring Amy Adams from a best-selling novel. And that's it.
What
That's
is
all.
that? Was that Clown in the Cornfield being made coming out? Is that?
I don't know, but there was one movie that I was looking forward to based on the poster that was supposed to come last year. And it's like The Harvest or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that the Clown in the Cornfield movie?
Is it? I don't know. It's something about The Harvest. That's all I remember. And the poster was fantastic.
Saw a trailer for another movie that looked pretty decent called, I think it was just called Blood. I shared the trailer in our group
It's
chat.
Dark Harvest.
Is that a prequel to Plane?
Yeah. I want. You know what I want to see? I want to see Jordan Peele remake a movie. I think he could do it. Vampire in Brooklyn. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I finally watched that for the first time a couple days ago.
I want him to make his own
Oh, I'm
movies.
totally
like he did.
joking.
I know. But like, I kind of see him like
This
Tarantino.
movie.
Oh yeah,
That was supposed to come out in 2022 and it didn't.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Is
Anyway,
Nosferatu coming this year?
that should be coming too. It should have been last year for the 100th anniversary, but Anyway, yeah, let's wrap this up because it's 3 hours. This is maybe the longest episode ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, good episode though, guys. Thanks for dealing with my lateness because of all trying to make these graphics. We'll be back next Wednesday with another show. Until then, you must subscribe. If you don't, you might die. I'm just joking. Anyway, have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.